You guys the best on the closing show. Go have fun. Adios. See you guys.
Hey guys, welcome in. Yeah, 2 o'clock. That means a couple hours left in a pretty exciting afternoon here. Does the market go green this afternoon? I can spoil the fun. The Dow just went green already. So the answer to the poll is yes. If you're looking at the Dow, anyways, back to, it was 0.01 there for a second, but back to basically flat at this point. Nice bounce though coming in, 0.42 to the downside for the S&P, about 0.6 right now for the NASDAQ. Yeah, TSX closed holiday on this side of the border today. 1% for Bitcoin, Ethereum, 1.4% right now to the downside, and improving sector board here to show you. This is the S&P 500. We're seeing much more green coming back in through the industrials, through banks, through even some of the consumer discretionary names, retailers specifically starting to pop back up into positive territory, where this entire group early on this morning was to the downside. Casinos still very weak. There was more pretty harsh talk coming out of China as far as COVID is concerned. Remember, they just reopen things for mainland tours to come back to Macau. They're talking about a pretty harsh stance to come as cases once again tick higher over in China. Material stocks, consumer staples, nice day right across the board here. Pretty much all back in positive territory. There's 1, 2, or maybe 3 that are standing out in the red still, but everything else in pretty good shape. That's Twitter. Yeah, there's a few Twitter headlines coming across, nothing major as far as what is going on with Elon and the negotiations that continue at this point. It was basically suggesting the two sides had discussed a 50 deal, or possibly getting the deal done at 50 prior to the announcement that Elon was coming back out at the current price. Moderna up here, I wanted to point out 4% to the upside. Merck is here on its own headline, 3% to the upside. Otherwise, though, healthcare stocks still pretty red right across the board. This is the tech group, the only one kind of left over lagging as far as the entire thing here. A net 7.5. There's ZBRA in the hardware equipment makers that are standing out as relatively weak. Software names have started to bounce anyways. Some of the semiconductors as well starting to bounce. Welcome in though. Pretty exciting afternoon here. If you missed it again, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson coming out saying that Russia is open to diplomacy. There was a few other comments, but that seemed to be the one that really moved the market. And they kind of pointed the finger at the White House then and said, if the White House wanted to stop preventing this from happening, then everything would be fine. But anyways, we'll see what happens. Bit of a pullback here for the overall market right now. We're going to get into a bit of a review as far as what was discussed. If you joined us in the pre-market, ton of opportunity this morning, whether it was Tesla, whether it was any of the other EVs, Ford was moving around. So much to look at this afternoon. Sean's going to lead the way here with a look at one of his trades.
Hey, thank you, Brendan. Yeah, for sure. Look, thank you for joining us here on Canadian Thanksgiving. And that reminds me, please hit that QR code below to start your journey with Day Trade the World. Thanks to our #1 sponsor right there, Day Trade the World. Okay, look, today's first one is going to be PayPal. We talked about this. It's your trade of the day. The reason why we have PayPal, a lot of hate for PayPal. And I give this right back to our viewers because I was sort of uncertain on where we wanted to go with PayPal. But the one thing that we said at 8:30 was, let's wait for some levels to start to develop, right? So we did that on PayPal, and we only have one in, a few outs, but that's kind of why it's your trade of the day. I wanted to give you guys something that, you know, where I'm not going back and forth too much. This is one in and one out. So let's just go over here quickly and just look at this is a 20-minute chart. Pretty big destruction already on PayPal over the last couple of days. So we do know that the sort of the fintech not going great here in the market. There's names like Affirm, Upstart, Square, PayPal, right? So then all of a sudden, what was it, a leaked email report came out there that PayPal was looking to throw down a fine of $2,500 for misinformation, whether or not it be to their end user or you know, to the people signing up, for their customers signing up for PayPal. Little unclarity there on what was going on with PayPal, but still, we don't like that talk as end users. So what happens? You guys were like, nah, down with PayPal, down with PayPal. So that's what we did. We found a little 87 level right there, and then there's 86. It goes back here till about September 30th, where we kept on bouncing off 86 and just a couple closes, some wicks lower there as well. But these were levels that I was pretty comfortable with. But we wanted to make sure that that's what the market wanted today. We opened up real early, right? And not early, but at 9:30. Look what the move was. It all of a sudden takes off up to that 87.50 area. So right away, I'm looking at this 87. I'm like, maybe that's a long. We took it out. We wanted to see what happened. But then it just rocketed right back down. And once it came back down, I was confident now to use that 87.50 as our out or as a level that maybe we could play off of on a high because we already put it in. Not huge volume. So here it comes. Breaks the 50 period, breaks VWAP back down. And we wind up getting short about 86.50-ish. We actually missed the move a little bit. We were looking at so many other things. But when it comes in, it breaks, and then the push lower, including, and some of our outs right here at 86. That's where we draw the line. Right at 86, some of the outs there. We're taking that 50 to 60 cents. We're trying to go 1-to-1. Then we let it collapse. 85.50 is our next out. Now we're making $1. So now this makes sense to hold this. So that's what we wind up doing. We wind up holding 20%. Unfortunately, we don't get out at that very bottom of 84, but we do a good job of getting out at 85. Then it takes 80. Then we hold it back all the way back down. We don't get out again, but we put our stop one more time at 85 to get the rest out. So it's just one in, a few outs, off that break, wait for levels to develop. Just like on the long side, right? We have a long here at 84. Let the levels develop and your trades sort of come to you. I was not expecting to have PayPal as your trade of the day. You see the NASDAQ now pulling back down as well. So yeah, PayPal is going to follow this trend, but now we have levels. We have the 87 spot that we want to short, and we have the 84 that we want to go long. So it's your trade of the day because we were patient, we waited for levels, and we hit it and quit it.
PayPal, big mover this morning, was on that. If you grab that in the pre-market, if you're not yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Make sure you grab that every single day. It's free, F-R-E-E. All you need is your email address. It just shows up every day in your inbox before you come and join us then at 8:30. We'll get you prepared for the day. I was just reading a few comments here, some dovish comments, in fact, coming across from Fed's Brainerd as well. So we had Evans this morning making some comments, not so dovish. These ones a little bit better. I actually saw the word easing, guys, in some of these comments. Premature easing is a risk, but risks may become more two-sided at some point. Fed's Brainerd making some comments right now, so maybe helping this move in the market overall. Back to the upside. Wanted to point this out, though. This is what kind of kicked off this rally. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman coming out saying that, yeah, there it is. Russia is open to diplomacy, finally. And then they also said this, which I mentioned before, the more Washington encouraged Ukraine's bellicose mood, the harder to find a diplomatic solution. So, and then we get some dovish comments from Brainerd right now, so a nice move back higher here for the overall market, guys, to kick off the afternoon.
Yeah, diplomacy. Exactly what is diplomacy in the eyes of their foreign ministry? I'm very curious. Does that mean it goes back to how everything was, or are we just going to set a new normal? And, you know, Ukraine's not going to accept that. So how much faith do I have in the fact that this is going to go forward? Very little. At this point, they're just trying to, you know, I guess change the topic as much as they can. But at the end of the day, there's a fight happening for a specific reason, and we'll let that handle itself. But we got Feds to deal with as well. The Fed is going to be the more important thing, and that's, well, for the time being, because of what's coming up. It's going to be Fed minutes on Wednesday, then you got CPI data on Thursday, and the markets really pay attention to that based on what the rates are right now, what people are expecting to happen once they get inflation data, and also what they were thinking in the last meeting. So there's a lot of information coming up this week, and there's this foreign news is going to be popping in and out over the next couple of days. If they're already starting to talk about this now, you know it's going to be coming up. And from what I understand, did they not just launch another?
Just now?
No, today or over the weekend, attack on Kyiv for the bridge thing. So imagine that, launching an attack and then saying, let's go for diplomacy. So there's a lot to be said there. But the market has taken this 3,600 level, took that news and up 45 points to the upside, and now coming off again. Keep in mind, bank holiday means you're not getting any commercial paper. You're also not going to get any sort of volume, real thick volume from the institutions here because they're off, right? So that's why you're starting to see these moves be stupid thin. They're moving very quickly from the future side of things, and the fact that the market went 45 points straight off the bottom and now coming back in. Expect a lot of that today. Although today's been up and down all over the place, it hasn't had any sort of thorough directional bias. It's just been sell, aggressive bounce, okay, then fine, sell again, aggressive bounce. You could argue that the trend is to the downside, but it's a very choppy trend to say the least. And now this is going to be one extreme move back up. And now the market right back to where it was before all of this even started. So here we are waiting once again. As you can see, I've got one long left on the table. We've made some money on some shorts, the TSM, the Google, the Meta, and the FTX shorts. We made some money, but I walked away from this fairly quickly as soon as we got aggressive with a 3,600 bounce. So here I am just holding onto that AMD long, and we're just gonna, for me, this day is for the most part done with. I'm just gonna let this one ride out and we'll just see how this plays out. If there's a trade on the futures later on, maybe, but for now, I am gonna back off.
Jamie Dimon sees U.S. recession in 6 to 9 months from the Wall Street Journal. That just came out right now. And I was a fan of JP Morgan as well. That's like the only U.S. bank that I own. So shout out to that. Yeah, happy Columbus Day. It's Columbus Day, right? That's the bank holiday there in the U.S. So shout out to you and a happy Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian watchers, viewers as well. Make sure you grab that turkey. Make sure you give your loved ones a big hug and kiss today. It's Thanksgiving here in Canada. No football today other than the NFL, of course, which is kind of strange. I feel like in Canada we should be, unless there's like a Labor Day Classic. I don't think there is one because
They have one.
Do they have one today?
In the CFL?
Yeah. Is it today?
No. I'm talking about the CFL, the Labor Day football
The Labor Day
game.
they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have a Thanksgiving one. It would be cool if they did. But anyways, all right, guys, shout out to everybody out there. And yeah, look, I mean, everybody wishes for peace there, and it kind of sucks to trade off of like news like that, but I feel that we have to trade price action. We were really lucky, to be honest with you, on this AMD trade right here. I actually left an order pending, and then we got hit long at 58 on the breakout there off of this short. So what wound up happening was I went short on AMD there. We're talking about Russia spy diplomacy. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so to the downside there, we got out, and then when it ripped back up,
my pie on.
He's scamming you. Why don't we show it, man?
I'm just trying to get my pie on.
That's pumpkin pie,
We got
baby.
pumpkin pie part of our lunch, which came extremely late.
This guy's got pumpkin pie.
I'm just trying to
up
get
there,
my
too.
pumpkin pie on, and Fahad just won't let me eat in peace.
Fahad's pretty ruthless. Like, I don't know if you've been watching, but like Neil, every time. So Lucas basically sets Neil up. He brings Timbits, and Neil puts like, I think 14 in his mouth at once, and then Fahad just goes like boom. He even focused on Neil's mouth. Okay, like that was. I feel like that's crossing the line. But anyways, yeah, we have a lot of fun times here. But all right, we're going to talk about all the chip names and everything like that. We'll talk about our plays later. But yeah, look, I think you got to watch out for those headlines that are coming through, especially if it is going to be about this. There was a major event that happened this weekend, including it was the bridge got blown up, I guess, or damaged by Ukraine, and then Russia retaliated, which is. I don't know, man. I don't want to take sides or anything like that, but I just hope for a peaceful, resolve. And anytime that there's innocent bystanders and stuff like that get, caught in the crossfire, I mean, of course that's going to happen, but it's really sad. So I don't know. Let's just play the price action here. You also got to bounce off 3,600. So that was another thing. So I feel like there was a lot coming in together there at once. So yeah. Interesting moves, man. We were negative for a bit, really negative, got that bump up. Now we're still down that 1%. So I feel like maybe that move was something to short, not to go long off.
Yeah, Algo's getting a little excited maybe. Fed's Brainerd, the Fed has indicated that rates will rise and become more restrictive, but the actual policy path will be determined by data. So nothing we haven't heard before. I wanted to mention Tesla here because we're coming back to the downside. I mean, it's been kind of a sideways, choppy, back and forth day. But this right here was the most relative volume on Tesla in a couple of weeks anyways. It was leading as far as relative volume when this bounce happened right here off of 217, 218 this morning, guys, for Tesla. If you missed it, we were discussing on this RBC with demand concerns going forward as recession talk intensifies. 83,135 China-made EVs, meanwhile, delivered in September. That was a record for Tesla.
You know, Tesla had a rough go of it on Friday, but now today, in a market like that's been quite aggressive to the sell side, at least early on, Tesla held up well. After a big move to the downside, it's actually going sideways. So it's going to be important to see how this one handles itself tomorrow, because although we are holding up well, we refuse to get above 226, which is going to be a problem. So 226 and change is going to be marked off as a top end level. This is a 30-minute chart. So in the event that we were to actually back away from 226 and go to the low, it makes sense that this is a pause in the action, continue to the downside, and down we go. But if, say, we come in tomorrow and they actually try to go down and actually snap back up, say 222, 221, end up back at 226, you got to think about the long. That's the potential on Tesla, because sideways action after a prolonged long move or down move usually tends to extend the move, but at the same time, if you can't get going, it opens the flip side of the trade, and the flip side is going to be that long back to 233 and change. So keep an eye on Tesla. It's not giving you anything today, but it is giving you some sort of interest. Like Brendan said, if there's a lot of volume coming in around that 220 earlier on, there could be some decent support buying down there. So see how it handles itself if it goes back down there and it comes back through 226, because there could be a nice long back towards the old range, which is sitting around that 233 to 235 area.
Yeah, we wrote that on the sticky note today. I mean, all those areas. It's funny because Tesla's not really moving. I mean, it's kind of stuck in this range like Arun was mentioning there. We talked about a 220 area. It might be something that you would want to look at. So, you know, that can come into play right here, 220 on Tesla. It did already early. Broke, only went down $1.50 from there. So I like this 220 area. I think there is some buy support there. And you might want to start it at 221 in case we do get that move back down there for Tesla. Look, Tesla's positive today, man. So relatively strong. I don't think there's going to be a bad trade there if you go long, if certain levels start to hit. So I think you support the long. You're bouncing right now around VWAP right here. So this is probably a decent spot. For me, though, I'd rather wait. I'm already, you know, in right now into AMD long. We, you know, talk about that a little bit. And then Amazon, we just got hit a little bit on Amazon. Let's see now if we can get this back up to the upside here. We got out at 50, took it back again. It still might break this. We're going to watch out for that bottom here of 45 for Amazon. But anyways, yeah, so Tesla, I still think I like it. It's relatively strong, like we just, oh, that's AMD, like we just said. So if you're looking for longs, you're probably looking in the right spot if you're looking at Tesla. Relatively strong today, but for me, I'm going to wait for 221. I'm going to put my order there and see what happens.
On the other hand, Rivian, not so much of a bounce so far. It's grinding along this 9% to the downside level, which was a little bit of support anyways from initial move down this morning, 32.5 right through to 31 on this recall, guys. If you missed it, 13,000 of delivered cars. So 13,000 of 14,000 delivered vehicles being recalled for Rivian. Not much love here yet today.
Yeah, and you know what? We came into today thinking, oh, you know, this is going to be really bad on Rivian, you know, having to recall or at least even send techs out to fix an issue related to steering. And then Rivian held up pretty well, but at the same time, it's not rallying, so it's opening the door for everyone to now pay attention to 30 even. And that's going to be a very big deal. Why? Big round number. It's already having a rough go of it. It's sitting around that 31.5, 31 area, which was put in the pre-market. Also going back to the beginning of October, there's some bounces around that 31 area. So you know there's volume, there was volume from earlier on last week, and now you're starting to see more volume develop underneath that area. So the range of support buying is getting wider. You're essentially, we're looking at about here. Now you're gonna open it up all the way down to 30. So anyone who's looking to potentially catch a cheap long on Rivian, let's just say that maybe they want to move back towards 35 or 36, you know everyone's going to put their stop at 30. Everyone's looking at 30 as the big round number. So if you want to play a move, the next available move most likely will be around that 30 mark on Rivian, because today they haven't really given you anything to work with. But if they go through that 30, you might have to end up, well, I'm not going to do it, but you may have to pay for your shorts and make a move on Rivian south of 30, depending on how the stops go. My only concern when the level's this obvious is that the stops get taken out first and we just snap right back. So just keep an eye on that first. But if you actually get sustained sell side volume underneath 30, you do have a nice little breakdown. This is a 30-minute chart. Let me zoom that up a little bit more. 60-minute chart still gives you the same action. If we go to the daily, you know you're going to get some more traction there to the sell side. All of this is going to be revolving around that 30, and this goes all the way back to July. So keep an eye on that 30 as we kind of keep trading along. At least tomorrow should be an interesting one.
I just want to, yeah. I mean, every day, the funny thing is, like, every day something's happening, you know? Like, you're down today, you're up, the market's rallying, then it's crashing, then we get this news from Russia, we get this Rivian news. Rivian was pumping up for quite a while. Today on the sticky note, though, the #1 name. Also, I think it might have been the first name on our watch list, that or Tesla as well, but lots of information here for Rivian. If you could show, Fahad, just this sticky note here. Yeah, so 13K vehicle recall, man, we talked about that. It's looking bad here on a recall, so watch out for the 33 short. That's about, you know, as basic as I can make it here without, like, you know, drawing lines and everything. But there it is. We started to get short in the pre-market. It did bump up. We're like, what? So we take a 33. We were watching out for that 32, sorry. We take a 32 short. We were looking out for that 33 level right there. Was hoping that we kind of made a move into the 70s or 80s because I did have a big order there to short that, but that never came through and it just kept on going to the south side as well. So we did the same thing, man. We're going to go bang on that trade one more time. Awesome. Wait a second, let me hit that one more time.
Awesome.
Uh-oh, the bang key not working. That's going to be a problem. But right there, we did take the short. And again, we didn't have the greatest amount of shares, so it's not a huge trade. But boom, it did go to the downside. We did get out here for very, very small amount. Thank you, Mr. Randy. We'll get that going. Thank you, Randy, for that for sure. But Rivian to the downside. We're able to take out a little bit of profit there when it came through. 31. I mean, my best out down here is 30.90, so that's pretty good. That's about $1 on that. And then we got out there at 31.50 before, right before. Man, look, it took VWAP. It took the 200 period. I got out of the last 20% or so before it falling down. I'm still here for the short, and I like it up here at 32.50. So if Rivian can sort of inch back up here, especially if the market does decide to make a dance here, then I want to be here for Rivian. So Rivian short into some of these areas. 32 is where we'll start it.
Not much of a move here, guys. Just a heads up, though. Barron's out with a note on Apple saying their iPad sales could fall this year and next. So not much of a reaction, as I said. Apple's still positive on the day, but just watch Apple right now. Ford, on the other hand, still not much love right across the board, I guess, for some of these automakers today. This actually looks very similar to Rivian's chart. If you missed it this morning, this was the UBS sell rating on recession risks. And they actually point down here, they actually point out Europe specifically. So Europe, obviously a huge market for Ford. And they're saying the recession in Europe going to be a problem.
Well, it's going to be a problem across the board. And Ford has had issues going all the way back to early this year. I remember when I was covering on the show back in February. Yeah, somewhere around February, when we broke through this area right here, this 19, this consolidation, this huge consolidation since late 2021. And then we finally took it out in February. At that point, it wasn't a good thing. When you spend this much time going sideways, you're building up a ton of volume, and then you finally get underneath it, you know that opens a door to the downside. So this is a daily chart. The reason I go to the daily is it's very hard to trade forward on the intraday chart. So I'm just going to go to the daily, and it's been trending down since then all the way into July. A nice little bounce all the way back to 15, 16. Went sideways for a bit around 15, and then they take another leg to the downside. So through 15, now back towards the 11 area, which is where we bounced in July. So keep an eye on. There's obviously some interest here around 11, but the next up level, although it's trading at 11.36 right now, next up level is going to be 10. Big round number, right? That's what everyone pays attention to. So this is going to be a nice level to potentially either go for shorts or pick up cheap longs. But based on the way things are trading and all the information you're getting, I mean, if they're concerned about some sort of economic impact in Europe, you know that it's going to have some impact in North America as well. And Ford's is having a rough go of it. So based on the daily, based on the forecast, and based on where it's at, I wouldn't necessarily go for the cheap long bounce, but at the same time, the downside break through that July low would definitely open up a nice trade, even on the first day, at least for the intraday move. After that, you're going to have to kind of swing this around. But for now, keep an eye on this July low as the next point of interest.
Yeah, we had, As if, again, Amazon, like we got stopped out and then it rips back up. Okay, so that was Ford. All right, so we're still short Ford, but it's just kind of by accident. We just don't have, our out didn't have as many shares that we should have had. But, you know, there it is. There's that one at 11.20. I mean, we shorted Ford all day here, all morning, especially 10 o'clock when we bump back up here into that VWAP area. We shorted it again. Our best out is 11.20. So we almost had like the high, the move initially back in. Most of our covers are right here, though, 25, 26, and then back down. That's a great short right there at 45 that just came through. So obviously some opportunities there as well to get back into that short for Ford. So, you know, I like the name. I think the 5% dividend is fantastic, but I've had this argument before. It's like, I keep talking like, oh, Intel's good because it has a dividend of like 3%, but then it goes down 4% that day. So it's like, okay. And there's Ford again, giving back that whole dividend in one day. So yeah, I think you still, for the long haul, man, I still think you want to be in some of these names. I don't think you can necessarily go wrong doing that. So I'm here for Ford. I like it. I think it's a smart play for the long haul. And I think now, especially after the downgrade and sort of what's been happening here today, I feel like this little level right there, 11.20, we bounced off of that. If you're not in yet, and I mean, maybe Ford continues to move down, but it's been a pretty, you know, disastrous. I mean, you just talked about being here whenever it was in the summer in June and things like that. You know, that's when Ford, oh, it's still a 20-minute chart. Sorry, I want to get the daily chart on here for this name. You know, back in the summertime, we were down near these levels again. So $11, you make that little run up there at the end, then come back down on that warning, and you're just right back in here. This is why, and I said that I was starting to put some new money to work down here for Ford. It's right kind of at these levels now. I didn't get filled, but right down here at 11, I'll probably get filled right now. So I kind of like these levels. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying Ford here, especially if you did have a little bit of a longer term time frame. That's my opinion on that. I like the dividend. I think it's good. But hey, they got downgraded for a reason. Supply chain, electric vehicles, maybe not as hot as we all once thought. So let's pay attention to this play. Ford on the downside. I mean, lower lows could be coming, man. This goes back to January of 2021 when you saw $9, $8.59. So maybe that's going to be something. But I think you're at some key levels here, especially if this market is going to bounce a little bit off that 3,600. I mean, we're kind of right back down to that now. But if you do get a little bit of a rally, I think Ford can follow pace. So yeah, let's hope that it gets back up here to 15, 16. I kind of like Ford here.
All right, Fed's Brainerd still making some comments, guys. So just watch the overall market, kind of talking the market back down after that brief little rally that we had. We started things off, if you joined us at 2 o'clock with this one, PayPal, just noticed downside once again. I mean, there's this 84 on the daily chart. If that goes, this thing's in real trouble. This is 84 down here. So still a little ways to go, but if you missed it, again, this crazy headline. And shout out to a lot of people sending me messages on the weekend pointing this out to me because it was going crazy on social media. But such a strange story, $2,500 fines for misinformation. Then they go and say that was released in error. So backtracking as fast as they can. Here's PayPal, guys, trying to get back to day lows.
Yeah, they would have probably been better.
Misinformation about the misinformation.
They would have been better off clarifying what they meant.
It.
Right, so now everyone's making up their theories on what this means, but regardless, let's deal with the chart in front of us. And the chart in front of us was, this morning at least, was longs if you can get above 87.50, shorts if you get underneath 85, and this market goes right down to 85. Like Brendan said, 84 is sitting on the, I guess, a low going back to late September. And this is just going sideways at this point. So you don't have a long, nor do you have a short. So you're waiting, again, this is another one of those names. We're waiting on Tesla as well. Well, it looks like you're waiting on PayPal as well to figure out how PayPal wants to kind of trade this through. It was a rough day for it today. It's down 5.79%, but it's stabilizing around 85 in front of that daily 84 level that Brendan was talking to you guys about. So it is definitely going to be one to watch because of where it's at. This is when you want to make trades, when it's at inflection points. And PayPal being at an inflection point helps the case for a potential trade. Doesn't matter the direction. It could be a long off a nice little bounce, gives you a reason to go for a long, and you look for the move back up, or even breaking through that level through the downside. That opens a short up as well. But these are the type of trades around these prices. That's when you get the most bang for your buck, risk reward. If you put up 2, you might get 4 back, 2 to 1 or something like that. But around these prices, around these inflection points, trades get easier. Obviously today's a slow day, but volume should pick up as we get on into the week. So keep an eye on this specific area, 85 to 84, as we go through the week.
I want to give a shout out to Sultan Uda here. Yeah, you're right, man. Damn, 4,000 viewers and only 400 likes, guys. Hit that like button. And then you guys are saying like, oh, have we, got funding secured to keep Arun here? Well, I mean, you got to hit the like button. Like, I mean, let's get likes secured first before we talk about that, and then I'll deal with Arun after. But we do appreciate Arun coming through, so let's take advantage of that here into the closing show one more time. Look, PayPal was a trade of the day. I think we did a pretty good job there. If you want to rewind to 2 o'clock, you can. But I'll talk about it a little bit here. There's the break. I wasn't sure what we wanted to do today on PayPal, and just because of all the hatred. Like, I'm even seeing now on, thank you, like secured. Thank you so much for that, Erie and everybody else there. Done. Thank you so much, Jose, as well for that. But okay, there's the breakdown in. Right now, 86.60, 86.70. We just let PayPal settle down here in the morning. And by settle down, I mean I went in at like 9.34. But it made that high move. And that's what I was nervous about. What was the initial move going to be? Was it going to continue higher because it was already beat down that 6% or so? Or I guess it was probably 5 at that point. But then once it came back, it took the 50 period, it took VWAP. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just try this short. And we actually did it with a decent amount of shares because we did have some of our outs up here, 87, 87.50. And then there's the cover at 85. So we don't have the ultimate dips down here to 84, but still $1, $2 taken on the majority of these shares. So that was a good trade. And then, if you sort of zoom it back out, I don't really I still own PayPal shares, and I really haven't sold too much of anything that I've owned. So it's been a disaster to the downside. Thankfully, I was long a lot earlier than the upside was there, but this is 86 right here, 86, 87. So it just goes back a couple days. So those were some of the levels that I thought we could sort of support. And once we didn't do that and we traded under, it just became a short. So this goes back to the 3rd of October, which is just last week, where we had these wick bottoms and a bunch of different bouncing situations. Those were all between 86 and 87. So once we sort of started to trend underneath it, the short sort of was there, and we took advantage of it. So no real comment anymore on PayPal. I'm sort of surprised that we're kind of having this barcode move right now. And what I mean by that is just we're sort of sitting around waiting for something to happen. That's a nice spike on that news about Russia, but there's the pullback right there. So we'll see. Maybe it gets going here. I still like this name to day trade, but I'm not a big fan moving forward because I feel like the pushback on this has been strong, a lot stronger than they thought. Whether or not they did that on purpose to sort of see what the engagement would be like on their stock price. Remember, they're not supposed to care about stock price. I think that was a bad move by them to talk about it. So let's see what happens. People discounting, people killing okay, we'll stay right here, no problem. People hitting out their accounts, not great, man. Like if they start getting guys like me, guys like you, guys like everybody watching there, canceling their PayPal accounts, well, guess what? All of a sudden that buy button that says PayPal, you can't even hit it anymore because you don't have an account. So I'm nervous for them. I don't like that. And look, you mess with retail, that's going to be a problem. And they're seeing it today in the stock.
Yeah, I mean, PayPal is having its own issues, but I mean, PayPal at the end of the day, I mean, they got a ton of competition too when you look at it, right? I mean, Google Pay and big one, Apple Pay, they've kind of taken over the landscape now. So not as many people kind of still on PayPal at the moment. I know me. I'm old school. I had a BlackBerry for the longest time, so I'm still on it. I'm still using it. It'll take me a few years to, switch over, but I'll get around to it at some point. I'll update my technology. But yeah, for the time being, I think PayPal's got some rough headwinds ahead of them, and we'll see how the earnings are supposed to come out soon too, right? It's October.
Well, we're in earnings season now.
Yeah, they should be coming out soon. So it'll be interesting to see how that competition is affecting their business model. Brendan.
I just noticed this 5.9 FIVN. I was going to double check. Earnings for PayPal, November 3rd, guys, for PayPal. Here's FIVN. We talked about this morning very briefly. Morgan Stanley just out with a very rare intraday downgrade on Morgan Stanley after the CEO stepped down this morning. This thing already destroyed, down 24%, but some volume coming in there on that. Again, Morgan Stanley downgrade intraday for FIVN.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat, guys. Guys, I may still be powering my house with steam. Also, coal might be something as well. So I'm not there with electricity yet, as you guys can tell. I'm kind of old school with that. But going back to one of the trades I have, AMD. We were working AMD shorts earlier that got ripped up. As you can see, I got the 57 short, got out north of 58. went sideways. AMD came in today with a rough go of it, especially after Friday's move too. Let me pull up a different chart for you guys. So the reason I'm going for this is because, well, I wanted the trend to continue on AMD. That's why I went for the initial short. But then as we're coming up, the first time I got pushed out was right here. We came back in and then came back above 58. Market also turned at that point. After having a down move like this, all of a sudden finding stability and finding volume, yeah, you know what? I'm going to want to play here. At this point, I tried the short to extend the trade or extend the trend to the downside. Wasn't going to happen. Enough action to the buy side. Why not take a shot on the long side? NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA, I saw NVIDIA later. NVIDIA kind of did the same thing, but the reason I chose AMD over NVIDIA, just the volume. I was paying more attention to it, right? I was watching AMD because of the fact that I was trading it earlier. So I kind of saw the move happen a little bit faster. So AMD is my choice. And once you get a choice between the two of them and you already have one, do you want to take the other one, which is going to kind of correlate to each other? Kind of not. So I'm staying away from AMD or NVIDIA because I already have the AMD position, but either or could work in your favor. Now up or down 6 cents for the moment, but a lot of day left, a lot of potential left on the table, especially if these markets want to get going back towards 50 maybe, 50, 55. An opening high would be nice. That's in the 60s there. So day's not over yet.
I still feel like we have a bad wick on Amazon, so I got to sort of zoom in here. This was the last trade. Wow, hot hitting those keys fast over there, boy. This guy's not messing around. Yeah, this is twice it's happened to me today. I think it was Meta the first time we were able to take it back and make the money. This is what happened again on Amazon, man. It broke that 40 level. We got out. Actually, it broke whatever those bottom wicks were. It was like 45. We got out basically at 40, making the bottom of that, which is just like serenity now. And then there's the move back up to the upside. So again, taking a little bit of a hit there. Like that's a 61 out 40, so it's still 20 cents. Back in right now, 54. Take the 20 cents here, 70s and 80s, and then now take the 50 cents as we try to make Amazon, we're not trying anything, trying to get Amazon to go back up to the upside right now. So that's a current position that I have on. That FIVN there, interesting to have that intraday downgrade brought to you by Brendo right there. So down 23% again, just keeps on getting hit there. This is 5.9 Industries, downside there. That's retail, isn't it? Aren't they like clothing or something? What is 5.9? I'm gonna have to find out. I don't think they're not big here, I'm pretty sure. 5.9 downside, what was it? Software, okay, there you go. So. Hey, I'm Sean.
That's
I know nothing about 5.9.
Way off.
Right there. You mean they're not making clothes? Right there. I must have just got them confused with somebody else, but obviously. So there's the big move down. Like whether or not there's going to be some kind of retracement back up or not, I don't know, man. I mean, you don't like those intraday downgrades, that's for sure, let alone what the stock is doing today. But it did come back up. If you're going to have any sort of a short in this name, obviously there's the 200 period. It's never really going to come into play until it starts to sort of flatten out because it needs 200 data points, right? So here it comes in right there. It hits it, resists it, and drops. So I think if you're going to look for any kind of a short right now, and again, maybe it's down too much. Obviously, I don't know anything about this, so you're going to have to watch out. It's nice when the resistance level is also at a level here that's technically a resistance on the chart. So I don't mind this, man. 59.60. If we can get a little bit of a blast up here, 60, 70 cents. I don't think this 5.9 is a horrible trade into that level of 59.60. I also had no lunch, so I'm also running a little thin here on brain cell rebuilding here on hunger, and that's why I was like, is that even a thing? Again, I don't know. But we're going to watch out here for 5.9. I think that's going to be hopefully a decent trade on that one. And then also AMD did retrace back up. So there's the long AMD, right? Boom to the upside right there. But it's part of, this long is all part of it. I had shares come in there when I wasn't here, which is my bad. You always got to cancel. And Neil and I talk about this all the time. Don't leave any pending orders. So I was short on AMD. And then I got out of AMD down here when we hit some of these levels. So then my order to get out of this short, if there was a problem, was at 58. So that punched me long. So I had to average back in at these levels, which was fine. I just rather have the long down there, and then I had to get it all out when we ripped back up. So right now I'm just working with this long and trying to get it out, in and around here. We're above the 50 period. I like AMD here. It's only down 0.6. It's actually fine with the market. We're above the 50 period, above the 50 period. So as long as that's the case, I think we can stay in these names. So a lot of people talking about tops today as well. So 640, nice little level for tops. Let's see. Whoa, okay, so a nice little move down right now, just straight down on tops. Are we at a level of support on this name, though? Yeah, pretty good, actually. Down here at 6.5, 550 is more the level. That's not, but so is 6. I mean, we hit 6 there a couple days ago. Boom, 6 again. I mean, it's 640, 650, but you're right into this level again. This isn't a horrible opportunity here for tops, I don't think. Will you go SSR is the question, because it's not SSR from before, so it's going to do that today. If you go down 10%, it just becomes harder to short sell. So you're not going to be able to just hammer the offer, or sorry, get the bid downside. But there's a lot of algos out there that start to trigger on stocks that are SSR, so you might want to watch out for that. Do the math and figure it out. It looks like you're going to go down 10% real quick here on tops. Meanwhile, there goes Amazon. You know, really nice trade back. I'm going to get rid of this wick when I throw it back to Arun, but it's a nice move back up to the upside here for Amazon, so let's take advantage of that.
Yeah, this market's starting to turn around a little bit. Okay, much appreciated, because that kind of helps my AMD position. We're still kind of flat around that 58, but we can get going in the latter half of the day. This market looks like, I'm surprised actually how accurate Prad was on his futures position. He went for that nice little long, the dangerous long in front of 3,600, got well paid for it, right? Probably risking maybe a few points off that long. But the danger you run in a thin market like this is that this market slips like 5, 6, 7, 8 points right off the break. But when you get paid handsomely for that risk reward, this is what happens. A straight move, 45 points move to the upside, market goes up, comes back off, and bounces off these mid-20s, now back into the 40 area. So next up is gonna have to be that high that we just put in, right? It's around 47, I mean, slip it around a little bit, 50, call it. If we can get above 50, we really do have a chance for a potential into the 60s. So definitely keep an eye on how this market wants to handle the next little bit here. Hour and a half and change left in the day, and this market has gotten back into the middle of the range where it's been spending most of its volume. Right through here, this is the 60-minute chart. You see the move to the top, you see the move to the bottom, and right back to where we kind of spent pretty much from 8 p.m. onward, 8 p.m. onward until we broke that top around until 6 a.m. So a big chunk of overnight volume inside of this zone, and this market's right back to it. So here we are kind of waiting for this market. And to be fair, like I said, I'm kind of, for the most part, I'm done. I'm not gonna, I've had a rough go of it with Tesla and AMD this morning, and Etsy and Affirm. So although I may have made money on half my positions, I made money on TSM, Google, Meta, and FedEx, but I lost on the other 4. So I'm 4 for 4, but still the losers are bigger. So I'm negative anyways. And I kind of know when I have a good market that I can work with, and I also know when I'm not in tune with what the market's doing. I can't get a read on it. Today's one of those days where I'm not in tune with what the market's doing, so I'm not going to put any more money to it. I'll hold the AMD position just because it's set up, and I took that one earlier. I have no reason to walk away from it, but at the same time, I don't need to keep putting more risk up, because at the end of the day, I know that like I'm having a rough go of it. Let's just back off a little bit, come back tomorrow when the market's acting a little bit differently. And this goes to show that, like, for most people, if you stare at the market long enough, or in my case, the futures long enough, you understand when you get a feel for when it's unusually thin and unusually volatile. Today's market, although it's all over the place a little, for the most part, it is unusually volatile for the way I would read it. So clearly it's messing up my reads. I'm going to back off. I have 4 days left this week after today, so I can make my money then. We don't have to push anything too far today. So we'll just kind of back off, hold on to the AMD, or trade AMD out, and see if this market actually wants to take a look at 50.
All right, yeah, good. Yeah, a lot of people like that talk there, so thanks for all that. Just realize that NASDAQ is at 10.5. Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ is, no, it's not at 10.5 here. I mean, I'm looking at the NASDAQ futures, of course. Maybe the NASDAQ current is there. We're at 11,000 right now on the NASDAQ, so I just saw that comment in there. We did reach 10.8, though. I mean, that was, well, 10.9, I guess, 10.870 down there on the NASDAQ, a nice little pullback, and you're approaching that 50 period again. So I'm wondering if we are going to get into sort of that sideways action. And then just to talk there about Amazon real quick, because I got out, right? We hit that VWAP, we got a piece out. Now we're holding not as many of these shares, about 35% left of what we had right there, but we got stopped out on a bigger position, but we're able to buy some back and make a little bit of money. Net, it's fine, but you know, you never, like if we don't have that, then I don't have to net anything. It's just a dub. So right there on Amazon, back up to the upside there for that. Looking at Ford is also, what else? I mean, is there anything else? All right, we can quickly take a look at some of these other names. I feel like Tesla, now, we've already talked a little bit about Tesla. What else possibly is there? Netflix was a pretty good trade for me today as well before it started to break down a little bit. We went long on Netflix here, boom, got a little bit of money, tried to defend the longs. We'll go 1 for 2 on Netflix. This was a nice one. That's 229 long. That out is 230.80, so that's good. And then we went long 229 again, long 228.50, out on the 28 break, and then held a little bit. We just held a little bit of that last piece, another 50 cents lower. So net, not great on Netflix, but there it is. It's a nice pullback in. So what's happening now is it's pulling back into resistance. So this is something that I like to look at. So it's pulling back into this 230. So again, NASDAQ pulling back in, Netflix pulling back in, but Netflix super aggressive against the NASDAQ. The only problem here that I see, I love this Netflix long, it's just how much room is there for that upside? Because if I start buying now and then getting out at 229.50, you know, it's a much better take, I think, right here. Like, okay, we're coming into it, so I might as well start to look at this right now. Netflix is pulling right back into that 230 flat area. Let's decide to put a long on here. Brendan has something. What's up?
XOM just popping up on volume here, guys. Oil ends the day down more than 2%, or the pit session at least. Here's the XOM. Volume coming in downside, day lows possibly to come down 2 on XOM as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's 245.
It's the same talk, and I'm surprised that we didn't do that talk when we mentioned in the rundown there about diplomacy and everything happening in Russia, right? I mean, I was all about oil this morning when we were up here 92, 93. Then look what happens as soon as that note comes out, right? It's completely the other way around. Now, obviously, these big volume spikes are due to the pit closing at 2:30 Eastern time, 1:30 CM Chicago here at the Merc. But you could see $93 as the high, and then all of a sudden, all that talk comes through, and you get a little move to the downside. Now, you know, if you think the market, I feel like, is kind of calling BS on that, you know, move by Russia there, talking maybe they're not looking to, you know, be so diplomatic with the ending of whatever's you want to call that. I guess it's a war there in Ukraine. So, you know, oil pulling back down. So it's no surprise here that Oxy, XOM, and the like continue to make a move. But hey, if the equity market doesn't believe that it's kind of a nothing burger, but oil believes it, so maybe there is a little bit of a miscommunication there between the two asset classes. But there's Oxy. Wow, Oxy getting oxified.
Oxified?
Is that we had to look that one up?
Yeah,
that's probably not a word. But yeah, Oxy getting hammered right down there, as Randy said. They're down to 65.50. Nice little move for Oxy back in. Just giving everything back over the last couple of days. These are trades that honestly aren't going to be for the weak of heart. If you believe in it, then fine. But again, if you're uncertain of what this all means, I think it's a little late to step into anything now on the short and on the long. It's already been taken out now, back down here into some support. I want to look at this tomorrow. Let's just see if there's more news that comes through from anybody at Ukraine or anybody in Russia, because we only have that one report, right? You would think that Ukraine may come out, some of the leaders in Ukraine might come out and maybe mention that maybe they've heard something or whatever, and there's been none of that. So we'll have to wait on that. But there is a new position now. Got to be a man of my word. We did take this right here, 230.20. We took that on Netflix. I'm going to give it back to this 229.50. So we're in it a little bit early, but I wanted to get the fill. So I'm going to put another order here around 80, average into that. Let's see what happens here with Amazon. With Netflix. We're already in Amazon. If this name happens to continue to fall down, I just want to get out at this 229.50. That's that wick bottom right there. If it breaks it, it breaks it. I don't want to even wait for 229. I feel like there's some consolidation there. So like if 229 breaks, then I'm going to be like, maybe I got to wait for this 228.65 area there. And then I'm just like adding to the problem. So let's just wait to see. Maybe we got a little bit there, a little bit of steam here on Netflix. Let's see if the market wants to pull back up. I got this trade. It's more aggressive than the market. I'm thinking we got a W here. So let's hold on to Netflix long at 230.20. Netflix, Amazon, and AMD. So I got Amazon and Netflix. I just need to get Disney and Apple, and then we'll have the streamers on board here.
Yeah, I was going through the chat. There's a question, not a question, but I guess they were wondering And this is because it's a futures thing. That's why I'm answering it. The low on the futures being different from what you're seeing on the websites, maybe. That's because more often than not, on the websites or on financial websites, they tend to put the composite price. So you're seeing the 10,552 as the low. That's the NASDAQ composite price.
Exactly.
The actual futures contract is obviously, because there's a premium to that. Whole different conversation on why there's a premium. The way it's kind of made, I guess, structured adds a premium to that. The low on the NASDAQ futures here is 10,876.75. So you're looking at about 25 points in premium for the futures contract. So that's probably what the difference is between the composite. I mean, that isn't what the difference is between the composite, which you see in all financial websites, and the futures contract, which is the tradable version of that composite. So that's what you're seeing here. And the NASDAQ market has had a rough go of it, obviously, with tech falling off. But the bigger question, not the bigger question, but the bigger issue here is bounce back in June, right around here on the 16th, comes back, snaps through that low, comes right back above 11.6, and then now puts in another low. They're putting consecutive lows in very short order, which makes me think that there's a lot of sell side pressure. Obviously, it's pretty clear it's downside, but at the same time, the fact that they're bouncing and coming right back to the lows, the S&P hasn't done this yet, right? So just keep an eye on the NASDAQ. Weakness is here. Yes, Microsoft, big name that's having a hard time of it, the number 2 weight in the NASDAQ, coming back down. So keep an eye, definitely. If you're going for shorts through the bottom on NASDAQ, jump at the weak names. Microsoft has shown you that it's going to be weak. That's the number 2 weight in the NASDAQ index. So if you're going to play relative weakness, NASDAQ or Microsoft would be one name, or you can play the entire index through the futures contract, and then that's through 11,000, which it's sitting at right now, but 11,000 is not as big as 10,000, because 10,000 changes the landscape of what the futures look like, right? It's a 5-digit to 4-digit, that's a big deal. So on the way up, it was a much bigger deal, but now on the way down, people are going to shift their thought processes on how to kind of work with the NASDAQ futures contract. So keep an eye on that as we get closer and closer to 10,000. And for all you know, by the time we hit 9 a.m. on Thursday, we could be down there. So things happen very, very quickly in this market. So just be aware that Wednesday afternoon into Thursday morning is going to be an exciting period of time.
I mean, I don't keep forgetting about that, right? I mean, okay, Netflix, I see you. I got you. I see you. Nice little bump up there. Oh, come on. So we just got that price there at 229.75, like we talked about. We're getting. I mean, we're obviously, if we get a 75 print, we're getting pretty close to getting stopped out at 50. So let's wait to see here. I just put some offers out. Hopefully it'll run. There we go. We got some 21s. Okay, some 30s. Now we're starting to climb back up to the upside here as the market's just bouncing off a little bit there. I don't know what we're bouncing off of, but I'm going to assume it's 11,000. So I know. Thanks for that talk, and someone did ask about that composite. So I mentioned it really briefly there. So I want to thank Saroon for doing that as we do. Attempt to educate as much as we can on this show, because that's the key, man. The more you know, the more power you have. Down there, 11,000, rejecting the close there, or rejecting the dip down to 11,000, then a nice little bump up. So we will take some pieces off there of Netflix. Right? I think did I get 2 fills or just one? Only one. Oh, and then now this is happening. So we only get 1 fill down there. Yeah, we can't. That's just frustrating, because you finally think you're about to get that run off that 11,000 rejection, and then look at this. Now it's going to stop me out right down here. If it breaks this 50, we're gone. So I'm trying to be disciplined here. And look, when stocks pop back up, it's like, you got to take a little bit out. So that's what we wind up doing that there on Netflix. Let's see if it does want to continue its move back up to the upside. So that's a name that we're looking at right now. So thank you for that. And yeah, you do pay. Look, every time you want live data, and I just see some talk there, whether or not it's going to be e-signal. That's why Trade Ideas is so good. And by the way, we're still extending that 30% off. So find me on Twitter. It's tradertv.live. I believe is the code for today. tradertv30. You still get 30% off Trade Ideas, which is also live data. So you want to make sure you do that. I have scans running all the time right here for Trade Ideas, including just little ones like this. Oh, I can't pull it over for some reason. I'll get that over to you in a second. It's clicking in my ear. But stocks that are at supports. We talked about those races that go through as well. Trade Ideas, definitely take advantage. It's their biggest sale. I don't know about ever, but recently that I've looked at anyways, on Trade Ideas. 30% off, expires today. Go find that, Trader TV 30, and you can hit that up, but that's a good one for us. All right, let's hopefully Netflix can come back up to the upside right now. Still trying to go. We did take out a little bit of Amazon as that went back up there. We did take it out there. We just noticed it just went to 114 and stopped. I hate when you get huge moves like that and then these kind of wick tops. So I don't know, man. Let's hopefully that 114 isn't a magnet. It just wants to go there and stop, connect, and then drop. So hopefully we'll have that. Another offer coming my way on Amazon at 114. You're not in any futures positions, are you?
Nope. I am.
Might stay out of it. You were mentioning today.
I'm more often than not. I'm gonna be out of this. This is not the day for me. This is not the market to. It's a tough day. I hear you guys. I see you guys in the chat just typing it. It is a difficult day to trade because one, you're getting volatile moves in one direction, which are then immediately reversed, but yet they're keeping a very wide trend, which was to the sell side until about 1 o'clock, and then violent moves in the opposite direction. This is a very difficult day to trade. So for me, I just don't need to waste any more capital on a day like today. So I'm gonna, save my bullets for another day. To tomorrow. Even tomorrow might be interesting because it'll be a volume coming back from everyone who was off today. So bank holiday takes away a lot of institutional volume. So coming back tomorrow should be interesting because how are they going to handle coming back to a market that has, so let's just say we were at 3,600. How are they going to handle 3,600? Are they going to like it or are they going to say, nope, let's get it back up to 3,650? So it's going to be interesting to see that. But I do see volume kind of being sideways, at least until Wednesday, when you get, the Fed minutes coming out. Going back to the futures, you guys were asking when I pulled it up on the NASDAQ, what's the symbol? Well, for each broker, it's different. For our system, it's NQ/Z22, but the actual contract itself coming from CME, this is the CME Group website, the actual contract itself is called NQZ2. That's the December contract, expires on the third Friday in December, and then you move over to March, right, H3. So if you ever have any questions related to futures, go to the CME Group website. They have everything for you. This is pretty much settlement dates, if you need what the next few contracts are and how, and the big one here, especially if you guys are trading, is going to be the contract specs, which is the leverage levels and what time they close and open and close, right? So you need to know this stuff if you're going to trade the futures. And if it's something you're starting into, go to the micro, the MES or the MNQ. That's also available for you guys to work with. So just be aware, CME Group has everything you need. And then check your broker. Every broker programs it into their system a little bit differently. So check what your broker has for you guys to be able to pull up futures in your accounts if you guys have access to futures, right? Not everyone has access to futures. I know Prad was asking, or somebody was asking about Webull. I mean, I don't have Webull, but it did seem like they said that Webull does not have futures access. So.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. And I think it's. Oh, if it doesn't have access, yeah, you may, like, good talk there. You may want to, ask about it because it might be an extra feature, right? I know Webull is one of those, like, sort of discount there. So find out if that is true. There's Netflix, man. Like, we got out a bit, and then it just broke through 50 again. So frustration mounts there a little bit for me on Netflix. But, again, it's kind of like we make money going long, then we lost it there going long again, and then we tried the long, got only out a little piece there, and then we had to pay the piper when it fell, breaking back down through 229. But no longer, like, I honestly thought that, I've been sitting here a long time, not just today, but in my life, and it's just like, sometimes those headlines like that, they can really, really spark the market, and it will just keep on going and going and going. So the last couple of trades I've been doing have been buying the dip, right? And it's a good thing we bought the dip on Amazon and were able to get it out when we hit VWAP, and then again they're on that bump up because now you're falling right back in for Amazon. So I am no longer going to be taking trades just because. Let's just make sure these are right. The last time Amazon was down here, we got stopped out on that 40 break. I still like the long here, so I am going to go back into this Amazon long right here at 58. There it is. We just take a little bit more shares there. My average price is 56, so it's just the same long. We've already been there. Let's take it again. We have that bottom of 40. I am going to try to respect that. That very bottom, though, there is 20. I feel like I can hold it to that. So, let's take a little more shares if it comes down to this 40 area. And then, just try to think like, okay, maybe that is the area that it wants to kind of bounce off of. So we'll do that and then put our stop back down here a little bit, give ourselves a little bit of room back down to 123.20. I mean, look at that fill we just got. Let me just double check that because, yeah, it's just ripped up there. So I'm going to get a piece out at 80 if I'm lucky enough to do that. We just took, there it is.
Awesome.
That's supposed to say bang, but there it is, a nice little awesome trade right there for Amazon because it came right back in, fell right into our levels again, right to where we've been buying it, and it rips up, and we'll take that 22 cents off. So we'll take out a little bit of it, and this is what's been hurting me today, is hoping that we are getting a blast somewhere, and Amazon hopefully can give it to us right now. So instead of like Scalp Nation, well, which is kind of what I'm doing, I am though holding for a little bit of a bigger move. On that being said, I just put some more at 78. Hopefully that'll come through again for that one. AMD trying to make that a big trade. We've left Ford alone here because I'm kind of waiting for that 45 to come through again. So you do see me in position, but it's like 1%. You know what? I'm just going to get out of Ford. It's such a small position that I don't even really want it on the board right now. So I'm going to put a bid out here, get out of Ford, and I'll probably be out of it when we get back from Brendan. What's up?
I just saw this one pop up. KHC, Kraft Heinz. There was an upgrade on this morning, but you can see decent size volume spike anyways, guys. Back above 34.10 here. Trying to get higher as well for Kraft Heinz.
Yeah, in a market like this, instead of wasting your time, keep in mind, you're sitting in front of the in front of the screen, hoping to make a trade, but you also know that the market's not cooperating. So what you do, at least what I'm going to do, is I'm going to start marking off names that could potentially set up for the next couple of days, maybe something that's getting close to a trade. And as Brendan brings these names, Kraft Heinz, I'm pulling up the charts. I'm like, okay, can I work with this? Maybe not today, definitely not today, but can I work with this in the next few days? Is there a level that I want to play with? Kraft Heinz, what are you doing? Well, you're getting back to the top end of the range. Well, top end of the area that you've kind of failed around, which is going to be around that 34.50 to 35 mark. So I know that I don't want to be long, but I could potentially fade this all the way to 35.50. So if we get into 34.50 tomorrow, into 35 and start to taper off a little bit, then I could run a fade trade on Kraft Heinz, knowing that the daily looks like this. So that's all you can do at this point. Well, that's the smarter thing to do at this point instead of jumping. It's a little late. I mean, it's 3 o'clock already. We've got an hour left. So even for intraday positions, it's going to be hard to give it enough time. You see the market's quiet, so 60 minutes to run a trade is going to be difficult to do. So I'm just going to back off, just take the names that Brendan's giving me, mark them off, see if I can actually work with them. I do have, obviously my main list of Apple and Amazon, the top index names. Apple is, 0.6, but Apple's not giving you anything. We just talked about the NASDAQ being close to that 10K, not close, but it's 1,000 points away from 10K, and 10K is such a big round number that we can get there in a hurry if we even just have one downswing, right? So I'm just marking these levels off. Apple's not giving you a whole lot. Kraft Heinz may give you a fade. Amazon's the other one. Amazon was a nice setup on Friday, but here we are, Amazon working 112. So Amazon below 112 is a potential trade here. And then the other one was Microsoft, right? We talked about Microsoft already. Yeah. Microsoft's been having a rough go of it, and they just took out that 232. So having Microsoft take that 232 low out opens the door for potential shorts on a bounce if you can get back into that area. So setting up multiple scenarios, work with them when they get there, but this is all you can do. Make use of your time while you're here. You're putting in the effort, so might as well make use of your time and setting up trades. And Bradley, no, I do not filter for the futures tape, but I can see the reasoning, and it does make sense to filter above a certain size because a lot of small sizes don't really make a difference. But if you see large block orders go off, I would say anything north of 50 is probably important to keep an eye on. So definitely, I don't do it, but at the same time, it makes sense to do it north of 50 contracts for any sort of, filtering process on the tape.
All right. Oh, man. I mean, I'm trying to find some new positions here and trying to get something involved. I mean, Amazon came back in. We took a little piece out there. Just looking at NVIDIA, 52-week lows, AMD, 52-week lows. I mean, I'm long and in the money 59 cents here off AMD. We just got another piece out when it just ripped up like literally a minute ago, back up to 58. And now it looks like it wants to fail again. So I don't know, man. This market, I feel like it's going to be teetering one more time. That was probably a BS move, right? Not probably. I mean, who knows? Let's hope it wasn't, and we can get some resolve over there. But there's the move up there because of what, Russia's spokesperson, I even tweeted it out. I was so excited about it, that there was a potential there for diplomacy. But, we've heard that before. We've heard that before all over the place. So we'll see what happens right now coming through for that. But 10,980. Stay tuned for just in a couple more minutes. We're going to put on screen there that discount that we do have for trade ideas coming up. It is 30% off, and you might just want to take advantage of it. We did have, I'm not going to say the number, but we did have a lot of signups this week, and I just want to advertise it again because it's such a good deal coming through. So if you guys want to do that, I mean, this is I told you we'd call it up here. This is what Michael built for me. I mean, they have real-time data, real-time charting, comes out here, the news squeezes out here. So this is finger motion. It even talks about it here, all the news coming through. And then look, names that are at support, names that are at resistance, names that are pulling back to prior resistance, names that are throwing back to the breakdown levels that are here. So I've asked Michael for all of these, and he delivered them, man. RSI, positions, there it is. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Brendan and Fahad, coming through. So there it is right there. Join that, man. There it is, Trader TV 30. I just think it's worth a shot. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and that's that. But take a shot there. Use code TraderTV30 to grab that. So I feel like it's worth it if it's something you want to do, and we wouldn't have. I've been vetting this software for a year. I don't know. I mean, how long has Michael been on here? It's probably been longer than that. I've been using it throughout my trading career as well. So again, we've affiliated with them, so we try not to sell anything on the show, but that was something where we said, if you guys can give us a discount, that would be worth it. That's Trade Ideas right there. Find Michael Noss on Twitter, and he'll be with us again on Friday. He was here live last Friday. Oh, you were here with us. So yeah, that was really fun. So shout out to the team over there at Trade Ideas. I think it's might be worth it. If you guys are interested in some scanning software, go ahead. We did put up some videos as well this week to help you understand some of that. So, all right, Amazon right there. There's our last little go. We were waiting for that 40 level like we talked about. So if we dip down too much lower than this, man, we're going to get out. But there's a nice little reload on Amazon. Let's see where we go from here. Yeah,
going back to that Trade Ideas thing, it's the beneficial thing. And as traders, we're always trying to execute something that works repeatedly, right? And the thing is, though, if you're good at consolidation breakouts or even pull back to support or some sort of extension play, then you could, instead of just scanning the market yourself, you can just have the thing spit it out for you and tell you, oh, this symbol's doing this or whatever. So this just goes into trader habits, right? Just find something that works for you, right? And I know in the chat there's talks about like different indicators and whatnot. As you can see on my chart, I don't have anything. This is the daily. Let me put it on the 30. I don't use any indicators whatsoever. So I just like to go off for raw price action. I know Sean has VWAP and a couple moving averages.
Yep.
Yeah, so he likes to use VWAP and a couple moving averages. So everyone's a little different. So just go with what works for you. But whatever it is that you do, consistently execute that. So if your plan is to trade a certain way, you need to consistently execute that. And I think going back to the Trader TV thing, or the Trade Ideas thing, is that if you're consistently looking for breakout trades, then have something tell you this is breaking out. Just focus on that instead of trying to find other things when the market's not cooperating. In my case, market's not cooperating. I told you guys I'm done. I trade a certain way. This is not going to work for me, so I'm done. I'll manage out my AMD position, but that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to add anything else. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll figure it out. If I had a different approach to the market, I might still have some trades, and that's the thing, right? If you have a certain approach, just consistently execute it, and that'll take care of the numbers at the end of the day. So keep in mind, it's a long, long period of time for you to see your results, right? It's not going to be just immediate. If you have a great day, doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be a great day as well. It just means that over time, as long as you can string together enough wins against your losses and they're big enough, then the numbers will take care of themselves. And if it's not, then you probably have to adjust something. But give yourself that opportunity. And the only way you'll know if it's actually working out for you or not is if you consistently executed what your plan was supposed to be. So just be aware that this is just another tool to help you stay in that path of just solid execution. And at the end of the day, the numbers, they will take care of themselves.
I mean, that's what it's all part of, right? It's part of back testing. And that's another thing, again, that is available there in Trade Ideas. So you can hit up Michael Noss about all that. And then, if you know, there's some promos there and stuff like that. You can come back to us for that. So, all right, let's just keep going. All right, Amazon. All right, yes, we just got another fill, so good. I was like, is that going to go back to 70 or not? This is going to look like an algo here, but I mean, I'm trying to take this long, trying to hold a little bit of it in case we do get back up to this VWAP here. We're just kind of hovering around. You know, the NASDAQ's down 1%. You're hovering around 11,000. I feel like there is an opportunity for it to get back up to the upside, especially with oil coming down. But on Thursday, we have CPI, so that's going to be another thing to look at. What about DraftKings? Is there any other names, guys, on their TLT? Yeah, we did talk about that. You guys like Amazon short? I mean, I don't hate on Amazon short. I'm just long it right now because it was relatively strong in the market. What someone said earlier on this morning, guys, look at DraftKings, and yeah, you were not wrong on that. DraftKings down 13% today. Let's have a quick, whoa, hello. That just kept on going down. I'm going to assume this is a downgrade. Obviously, there was no earnings or anything on DraftKings today. Not a great environment for them right now with rates being as high as they are. People, it's just too expensive to borrow money. And of course, when you gamble, you lose. So DraftKings there needs people to keep re-upping their accounts. So just throwing it out there. Maybe that's not happening right now for DraftKings. I wouldn't be surprised if they did catch a downgrade today. We're in the season, you know, football's full swing right now. NFL, college football, yeah, basketball coming back. MLB playoffs are here. F1, I guess, is done. I don't think F1's big for gambling, but maybe it is. And then soccer, of course, is kind of year-round sport for gambling. But right there, 14.30. This is pretty low for DraftKings. For me, I've been talking about DraftKings a lot, and just the fact that I like their business model. If it can come back, yeah, no, I need the daily chart for this one. If it comes back in to this $10, $11 mark, right? I just feel like customer acquisition is so key. They spent a lot of money on that, but now they've acquired them. So I don't know if they are going to be eventually, and I don't know what the valuation has to get to. That's something. But, you know, MGM and Caesars and all these bigger companies there that are building sports books, and I know that they already have an online aspect, and they already have an app. But, you know, what about taking out a DraftKings and sort of integrating some of the things that they do well and then putting it into your platform as well? So I'm wondering if DraftKings down here at this 10, 11 mark, maybe get some eyeballs on it there, so we could definitely have a chance to look at DraftKings at some point. I feel like we've missed the move, but look at this daily chart now that I look at this. You are right now, right at these levels, man. 14 might be a level for DKNG, so that could be a name to look at one more time. Oh yeah, the BETS ETF, that's a good one. What's up to Logan there? This one I believe, but then you got to deal with Penn and all that stuff. I'm going to say Amex. Yeah, good. Kind of random ETFs seem to always be on the Amex. So the BETS ETF, let's just see what that's doing when that loads. Yeah, and I guess this is a good one too. I mean, it's kind of like getting TAN, T-A-N, if you wanted some of the solar names. And then there's obviously Drive for some of the, you know, EV names. So, you know, BETS again, yeah. I mean, look at this move to the downside. And again, if DraftKings gets bought out, not that that's the reason why you want to buy it, but then you're not going to get the pushback in BETS like you are in DraftKings. But again, BETS down 3% today, DKNG down 13. What's up, Brendan?
Dice, not a sports betting company. This is actually a biotech, but cool ticker. Dice just breaking highs there on a volume spike up to 24. Also want to mention this, CYRN just popping up on some volume. There was more cybersecurity talk right when we went off at 11 o'clock this morning. This thing got up to 140 again, but CYRN just popping up again too.
Yeah, when Brendan said Dice, I was like, wait, it's a game maker. I was in my head, I'm like, it's got to be a game maker. Then he's like, nope. I'm like, really? But there's got to be a game maker named Dice. I've seen that somewhere. But anyways, regardless, that's a different company. Going back to Meta, I just want to take a look at Meta just because this was one of those trades that was a great long this morning. Both of us had a shot. Went all the way up to 136. I was sitting a little bit further back, didn't get a fill. Came all the way reverse, all the way down to new lows, and then snaps right back and ends right into the middle of the range here. The reason I care about Meta, remember, I'm going through my list and figuring out what I can do now for the next set of trades. This low, this 132 low, has been in place essentially since the end of September. Now we're spending some action here. We're wedged in here. Although we were consolidating here since the beginning of October, actually the last couple days of September into October around that 135, getting underneath opened the door for that 132. But the fact that we're still holding on to that 132 makes me think, okay, we're now stuck in between what was the 135 bottoms going for about a week or so, and that 132 low that was in place since September the 28th. So if we're stuck in between that high and that low, then that means we've got to be wedged in here somewhere between these two red lines, right? We're going to get resistance up top, north of 135. That's going to be previous support acting as resistance, and clearly that 132 is going to hold as support. So this is the fact that this is going sideways like this. I'm just waiting for the moment that this breaks out. Could I play this on the range side of things? Yeah, I'm not a good range trader, so I try not to trade this stuff. But at the same time, breakouts could be a nice trade. So keep an eye on this 132 or this one. I'm going to say 136.15 to 137, but it's going to be a wide range. But whichever direction breaks out, you should get some action in that direction because of the fact that how long we've been spending so much. We've been spending a decent amount of time going sideways, which opens the door for a nice aggressive move in whichever direction we break out. So definitely keep an eye on Meta as it's just churning away at volume. And at some point, we're going to have to get that breakout going. And when it does, it should be pretty good.
All right. I mean, right now, let's just drop down some money here because, yeah, I mean, I hate to be pounding the table on the same names over. Oh, God. Okay, that's just the daily chart on Amazon. But there it is, finally going back up to the upside. Now, no more taking this out. Let's see if we can be right now. It's 3:15. We're into power hour. Let's see if the market does want to rally and try to get back to some of these levels that we did see before. Like, this was a crazy trade. It took out 114.50 there, which was this bottom. And I was like, let's go long. And then we went long and got out. Right there on that move. So we kind of got screwed on that first long there. So now we're back into it. So we got to be able to try to hold on to something. And it's funny because on Friday, I remember I'd asked you, I was like, it was on the AMD trade, actually, if we can review that from Friday right now. So today's AMD trade was great. But Friday, I remember, I don't know if my trades are going to show up here or not. No, they're not. But I was short right here off this break, and then AMD just trailed all the way down. And I remember saying to Arun, it was like, because I had to go, so I was getting out anyways here at 11:30, but I only had like 10% or even less, maybe, of my trade here. And I was like, well, how the heck do you know like when to get out? And then Arun just said something to me that really resonates, and he just said, do you remember what you said?
Let the market tell you
when?
when?
Exactly. Look how chill this guy is. I like it. Let the market tell you. And I mean, and that's what it's all about. And I just feel to myself, you can come back to the chart here. Yeah, thanks, Vaughn. It's like, why? I should have probably held until this 50 period was broken back. I mean, that's why I have the line here. This is a trend change for me. Now, sure, it started to go down. I mean, the afternoon was a disaster, but you could get back in, right? So, I mean, that's the other thing. Sometimes you got to let some of these sometimes you got to let some of these things breathe. And see, I'm doing it again where I'm not even looking at the chart. I just see Amazon rip up to the upside right now. And I mean, I got to get out when that kind of a move happens. But again, if I take out, let me just take out my trades so you don't have to see them here. And then let's look at where that line is, where I'm supposed to hold till. There's the 50 period all the way back down here. So for me, it's a little tough when I see some of these moves start to happen. But now let's just, let's see if it can work its way back up. I don't think you always have to let the market take you out. But at some point, if you do have a decent position on and it starts to really rally up for you, there isn't anything wrong with buying these dips down here on support and then taking them out on resistance, right? But you are going to get those big time. I got to take another piece out. I have shares here. So we'll try to take another piece out here for Amazon on this move. So, and again, you got to try to respect your support and resistance. Now let me call this back up, and you can see exactly how ridiculous all these fills are. But there they all are today. So I try to scalp, and I try to that's what I'm making money on. So far so good here on this Amazon move. But we got to respect it. We got to take a little bit out when we come back up to this 111.50. So 114.50. Good trade there. I want to get into some more names, man. It's expensive. Yeah, Trade Ideas is expensive, but I do think it's worth it. They do have a free or small 2-week trial. I think you guys should try that. If you miss out on the 30%, don't worry. I have a feeling that we can convince them to have a Black Friday sale. So try out the 2-week thing there, and then we'll come back with something else if it's too expensive. I just want to tell you guys, it's a great piece of software, and by no means are we touting it or anything like that. This is something that I do believe can help. So go for it. Then don't do that if you want to try for 2 weeks. Go in there. They do have a nice little trial offer there as well. We just got out of some more Amazon there. It went to 31. So we'll take some more out there. And then meanwhile, our AMD trade's looking pretty good too. Right back up to previous support. So I feel like that's another level where we need to get out.
Yeah, I'm just watching you guys in the chat. I have nothing else to do, so I'm just gonna, just creeping on what you guys are talking about in the chat. Alta? There's a lot of talk about Alta, and I'm just looking at the chart going, yeah, it's a move, but like, what can you do with Alta here now? I'm not going to do anything with it today, obviously, but at the same time, what can I do with it? I'm looking at it going, it's running into this 392 and 394. There should be some sell side activity, at least resistance through this area. So if the situation with the moves like this is, if you get a strong run into resistance, you respect the existing trend, but at the same time, be aware that this might be a limited move. So although it's running strong right now, we still need to clear through this area. So if we start to stall out or even lose any sort of momentum to the upside, you could easily say, you know what, I can just run a fade. Let me run a fade against this area and then see if we can get back down. So definitely Alta is making a move to the upside. Obviously, it was a nice long off the bottom, the 382, which was there since Friday. But at the same time, if you didn't catch that, risk reward says you probably weren't going to catch anything else, right? If you didn't catch 382 or somewhere around 382, it would have been hard to justify any other long. Could you have caught in 386? Maybe. I mean, the bottom would be 380, so you'd have to put up $6. Upside resistance doesn't give you that kind of space. At least that's how I do the math. So you would have to catch that. But now, if you've already missed the boat, potential fades is all I can think of when we're running into this resistance area. But again, late day, 320 right now. Market's going back to the 3640 to the upside, and also imbalances coming out. A stock that's had a 1% day could have an imbalance. I mean, it's more than nothing. So 1%, it could have an imbalance at the end of the day. And you know how imbalances move the market. So I would back off at this point. If you have it, great. If you don't, just pay attention to it, because you want to pay attention to names that are at points where you can actually work with, like I mentioned earlier. So this one is at an inflection point. So if you can find a reason for a short, there could be something there. If you already have a long, just be aware that you're running into resistance at this point.
All right. Let's looking for some more trades, if there is anybody right there. GM and Ford. Oh, so we did get out of Ford earlier. I was actually debating a PayPal. So we did go short on PayPal earlier, and then PayPal just sort of came into some of these levels right there. And if we zoom in a little bit more, it just, this is resistance, right? I mean, it doesn't want to break through this 85 very clean. Every time it does, it goes to like 85.10. Like, make the move down. That time it broke, but back in, make the move down to 84.90, up to 85. But I mean, it's just still caught in a range here. So if you're waiting for a big move in PayPal, it doesn't really look like that's going to be coming through anytime soon. I still feel like Oxy and XOM, there's probably a trade here somewhere, because oil's kind of leveled off right now. Here, let me pull this over. As you can see, now that we're closed electronically, oil's kind of leveling off. Now, there will be big moves happening if something hits the wires. So I have to be aware that on a possible stop order and things like that for an Oxy or for, maybe I need to go back over to XOM. Maybe XOM is the better trade. But, we do have a nice bottom there of Oxy 65.80. That might be worth it. I mean, you're taking out the 50 period there. Nice little move back up in the market. Will the market go green? I don't know if that matters to Oxy much. But that level right there, 66.13, we take that out, and then maybe you get a nice little move back up to the upside. So I think we're going to try that. A little bit of a break long on Oxy, 66.15 or so as a trigger. And then if we come back in, I think we'll just use 15 cents worth of risk. To me, that makes sense. We'll try to go long there if it comes back and wants to come a little lower. I don't want to hold it against that bottom of the day, so I think that's something that we could definitely try there on Occidental. Let's just go over to XOM and see if that's something as well. Ooh, breaking back down below 100 there. I know Brendan brought us this story of XOM kind of falling off right there, 100 down to 99. Oh, this actually looks a little bit better right there off some of this support. 98, yeah, we're not even that far away from it. 98.75, the bottom early today, 98.75 there on XOM. That's a pretty interesting level for anybody. If you're long right now, just watch out for that. But this is not a bad break. I can use that as a bottom there. So, Interesting. Let me think about that one. What's up, Brandon?
It's pineapple time again. Day highs here on a big spike for Peggy, guys. Pineapple Energy.
Oh, pineapple. Brennan and the pineapple. It makes me think about, we talked about this earlier, the pineapple pizza. I passed on the pizza just because I didn't want to sit here for another 2 hours after having eaten pizza. This body has been fueled by pizza for the last month or so. So I didn't want to do it. And then we were waiting on a healthy alternative. And you know what? That healthy alternative never showed up on time. So yeah. So I am drinking tea and it says no problema. Problema. So that's
Problema.
problema.
It's a llama.
It is a llama.
No problema.
Isn't that what I said? No. It doesn't even matter at this
cares?
point. At this point, the market's going up. I'm also running on fumes at this point. I just want to get out. I just want to get out of this one position I've got left. Even if it takes off, even if AMD takes off, whatever, it doesn't even matter at this point. I just want this day to be over with, just because this market has been, as you guys have been talking about in the chat, it has been a tough trading day. And Peggy, 25% to the upside, looking at 5 even, sure, but you got to keep in mind, it's late in the day. It gets very, very slippery when you do these even dollar breaks late in the day. It's had somewhat of a, I guess it wasn't a wide range. It's a wide range if you caught it this morning right off the open, 320. Since then, it's been somewhat quiet between 4 and 450. So here we are taking a look at 5. And then if you get above 5, but late session, getting above 5 is different from, say, midday. So I'd be careful if you guys are looking at Peggy going through 5 even.
I just saw like a headline here. Ukraine Zelensky says spoke to President Biden about air defenses. All right, it doesn't seem like that they're getting ready to defend. I mean, I'm surprised. I know that, the U.S. has been sending over, equipment and supplies and funding for this, but I guess the air defense is not the greatest there. And it just sucks that what's happening over there. But, maybe that sort of puts a little bit more fuel here on the fire to the downside. That was about 10 minutes ago. So, but we're still trying to break these highs. So just giving you guys some more updates on that one right there. Yeah, look, I agree, man. It's hard to find something right now that's really worth putting something serious into. I mean, Nvidia's down to 117. We can have a quick look at that, as I feel like I'm only talking about AMD, but that's because I've just traded AMD a lot over the last little while. So that's why we'll continue to look at that name. But okay, I mean, it's kind of just, let me see what that looks like. Let me see what. Yeah, okay, so they look very similar there, AMD and NVIDIA. Let's just switch back and forth. Some levels. I mean, I'm just trying, they're almost identical. So whether or not I just hold on to this AMD long that I have right now, which is pretty nice from the bottom, or look to get into a new one here for NVIDIA, I don't know. I think it's like, it's two of the same stock there pretty much today. So, and that's how it's been for a while. Here we go. Now the market's starting to pull back. So we did get out of some of our Amazon. And again, I was, I'm here for the run up, and we did have it. But again, look where it stopped. It stops at support and or at resistance, and now falling back in maybe to that support again down here, where we'll look to get longer again at that 40 level, and then watch out to get a dump back lower if that does break through that 113.20. That's going to be the area right there that we're concerned about. So I'm going to put another bid down here around 40 to see if if we can get another better price, maybe even down, maybe even a little bit lower into the 30s there, see if we can get something on Amazon in case this move does extend itself to the downside. But just for all you home gamers there, we're out of now 75% of that move. So, nicely done to the upside. Let's see if it pulls back down in there for AMZN. Yeah, Rivian, good call there. Yeah, thanks, Super SPAC, man. Wow, okay. Rivian did, that was a good one, man. That did come right back up into that level for Rivian. So, yeah, Rivian does pull back upside. All right, Arun can't short it because we have to pay for shorts here, and that's not something that this guy does. But 3170, a nice high there. Just looking at some other charts, 3130, I feel like that's a good little level to break. We're almost there right now. That's that top right there. So looking at Rivian, 3130, like if we can break that back down to the downside, then maybe we would enjoy a move down. But again, like they recalled 13,000 of their 14,000 cars. That seems to be a bad move, but yet, that happened. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't seem as negative as I thought it would be today, Rivian. I mean, it was great early when we went all the way down to 30 and we were short off 32. But right there, yeah, probably a missed opportunity up there at 75. I don't know, does it have enough momentum to go down? It sure looks like it right now, but that's Rivian. just bouncing around. It's almost like I'd rather have that 20 short right there for Rivian. You know, that could definitely be something. Is there anything else at support right now? NVIDIA? No, I'm just looking at some of those trade ideas scanners that we talked about. Apple maybe is pulling back to prior resistance right now. Let's just have a quick look at Apple. This is again off the scanner. Probably similar to the futures, right? Pulling back into here, 11,000. So yeah, pulling back to support. It's already breaking that low. This is the support we're talking about. But if the futures don't hold, Apple in the futures today, even though Apple's up, it seems like right now you're kind of following the patterns. I mean, this is what the NASDAQ looks like here, and then this is what Apple looks like. So up, down, retrace, back, back. Very, very similar. So Apple, yeah, if you like the long, wait for a pullback in Apple. It can go up higher than the market today. It's a little stronger than that. This could be a good little level here to go. Oxy just fell back in. Okay, thanks for that, guys, right there, because we do get distracted. Yeah, Oxy right back into support. So thanks for that. Who wrote that? What's up, GM Man? G-Man, I guess? GM Man. Oh, man. What's up, G-Man? And, oh, I don't like the G-Men right now because that's what they call the New York Giants. And they wind
beat
up...
your Packers, right?
Yeah, Rune.
Yeah, they spanked your Packers, right?
Whoa. Wow. Wow. All right. Yeah, we lost. We lost. We graciously lost, okay? It was in Tottenham there, you know, so we weren't in Lambeau. It's going to go down as a home game, but, you know, we were up all game. Then I took my daughter to hockey. Next thing I know, phone blowing up. You know, your Packers suck, this and that. You know, friends, that's what friends do. You know, they really beat you when you're down. That's great. So that came through, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they lost. And then not only that, I'm sitting there with my mother-in-law. She's like, oh, the Packers lost? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh God. Yeah, lost tonight. But tonight's a good game, man. KC, Vegas. So the Chiefs-Raiders tonight, I think that's going to be a great AFC West matchup. So if there it is right there. Oh, that's it. Okay, Fahad. I'm down with that, Fahad. We'll see. I love playing these games. I mean, that's fine. Remember what happened last time, Fahad? You had to go a little early. The show got extended a little late there, so we'll see. That may or may not. We won't do that again, but yeah, thanks for that. A lot of fun there. Go Lions. The Lions having a great year, except for this week I started Jared Goff. Thanks for that. The Lions got what, shut out there? 26-0 or something?
29-0.
29?
Or something like that. Anyways, they got shut out.
It was something pretty bad there. But
yeah.
All right, over to trading. Only 3:30. Well, it's now 3:30. Only 30 minutes left. Yeah, the Cowboys. Very impressive to the Cowboys. Shout out to Sharif and to Playmaker and all you Cowboy fans as well. Wow. Cooper Rush. Again, you know my two quarterbacks were this week? Cooper Rush and Jared Goff. They both combined for like 6 fantasy points combined. So I'm going to move on that. My fantasy team is basically a dumpster fire right now. So, all right, let's keep going. Amazon, nice move back up. AMD, nice move back up. What about Meta? Anything, catching your interest? Because I will put on a trade. I mean, I'm heated up.
Well, for me, it's all about the small wins. And for me, the small win was getting out of AMD for the spread. I made money on that just to cover the fees. But that's all I made. That's a win. That's a win for me because I wanted out. And to be fair, I got a great fill too. I got right out, as soon as I got out, this market fell off like 50 cents. So AMD, we're out of the way, covered the spread, covered the cost of the trade. We're going to move on from that. Somebody was asking about crude. Crude's been obviously in the news, and crude's been having a slow day today. But at the same time, it's sideways action gives you levels to work with. So the fact that 91.50 broke, and it's pretty clear that 91.50 was going to act as a nice little support base for a while there. So the fact that we finally broke, what I want to see tomorrow is crude, if it gets back into that 91.50, 92, and starts to kind of fall off a little bit. So I do want to see a rally, but I want to see a rally that fails in through this level. And if we do get that, you might actually have a short on crude. But if you get right back through 91.50 into 92 and hold up well against any sort of selling that would come through there, then odds are this range just gets wider and we just go right back up to the top end, which is about 93.50 into 94. So keep an eye on crude right now is around that 91.50 area. So that's definitely one area to watch out for. When you go sideways, it gives you information. There might be not be a trade there, but it definitely gives you information. And if you actually look at the daily on crude, crude's got quite a few wins under its belt in the last little bit, but the clear trend is to the downside. This is the consolidated crude chart, by the way. So currently we're in the X contract, so it's probably the November contract, I think. But Anyways, this is a consolidated one, so this adds up all of the different contracts as they expire and puts them on one chart. And the clear trend is to the downside. It's pretty obvious. From the time we were up here at about 123, all the way down to 75 or 76, and now we're bouncing back up above this 90. Keep an eye on this 90. This was a problem earlier. We just broke 91.50. If we go back into 91.50 and fade, if you can do a risk reward trade, short side against 90, that's available for you. Flip side is, if you go into 90, catch a bid, and set up a nice long, then you can look at the daily and say, you know what, there might be a nice trade. This trend might be broken. Let's see if we can get a move back towards 97.50. So definitely crude's on the table for potential trades, because up until today, it was up essentially since the beginning of October. Since October the 3rd, all the trading days since then, it's been up except for today. Today's the first negative day in October so far. So definitely keep an eye on crude, as it's around areas that you want to watch out for. So definitely a trade to be made there.
I wonder why. Oh, maybe I'm on post only. Maybe that's why that keeps happening. All right, we're short. We're just going to short. I tried to punch through with one of our gateways and it rejected. I'm going to find out why that was, because I wanted a little bit of a higher price. Then I just offered the ask and got it anyways. So all right, I switched over. So I got out. I got out of my AMD there. I was honestly thinking that if we broke this 70 level or 65, that we were probably, I did not execute a short down there. The short is right now. We just put it on. You can see my price is 57.85, 84, sorry. What was the show on there? Yeah, okay, it's rounded down, so that's okay. 57.84, well, it's an average. It's 57.84.33 right there, because I think I have like an 88 and then an 80. So we'll see if it comes back down in now. I was really thinking, honestly, about breaking through this 57.50 area, but now we have a decent position on. Let's see if it wants to give us that. I still don't mind the short through 50, so I was just like, you know what, here's all this. If we break lower through 50, then for sure, VWAP, that's 40, that gives us 10 cents. And then we have some of these 50 periods and the 200 period to consider getting out on if we're wrong and bust it back up to the upside. So that always goes through my mind there, is like, where are we gonna be wrong on a trade? And then where can we get out? So that's kind of what I base. And I know we had the trading psychologist. And first of all, I do want to give a big shout out to Live Trading by, sorry, that's us, Live Trading by Trader TV Live. But I want to give a big thank you to our sponsor of True Trading Group today as well. So thank you once again for sponsoring out that after show right now for us. You guys can check them out, True Trading Group. Find it in the chat. There's a link there. Click on that. They also stream live after us. So you can go find those guys. So thank you to True Trading Group. Once again, they've been with us for a while. So shout out to all you guys there at True Trading Group. I'd love to have them on for a couple seconds if they want to one day as well. So that's True Trading Group. Thank you so much to you guys for that. All right, so that's what we're looking at right now. We're short AMD. I'm still long Amazon. I did get out of some Amazon there as well in the 80s there, as I was thinking that this market wanted to dip back down. And what I was really looking for was an 11,000 break. That didn't really come into play. So we'll hold on to this AMD. Our out for AMD is going to be 58. Let's just see what happens. There's only now 14 minutes until the imbalances, which we may or may not take. Let's just see what that number is. Oh, Brendan just gave it to us in the chat. Well, I gave it to us 5 minutes ago. I missed it. 450 million roughly to sell coming from financial juice. So we'll see if that does play out or not. Sometimes those imbalances are great. Sometimes they're not that much. But we'll wait to see what happens there on that. And again, a big thank you to True Trading Group.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hold any weight to those imbalances. Keep in mind it's a bank holiday. I mean, like, where's where's the volume coming from? Like, I mean, it might be 450, but where's the volume going to come from? So, I mean, we'll deal with it at 350. But a lot of you guys talk about nat gas. Obviously, nat gas being a topic of conversation with everything that's happening overseas. This is a different nat gas. This is a different facility, right? It doesn't even matter. But anyways. It's a very difficult chart. Just looking at the chart, I'm like, man, can I actually make a trade? I've traded nat gas not as often as I trade the index futures and crude. So my priority is usually ES and then crude and then NASDAQ futures. And like somewhere at the bottom is nat gas futures. I'll trade it once in a while. And this is a difficult chart. This is a 60-minute chart, and if you look at this, this is a wide range, right? So I mean, like today, the easy trade was a 660 break, but going 660, that means you're going right into 655. It becomes messy. I think the easier trade is going to be the low break, but at the same time, all you can do is drop the lines and see if you can work with something. I would argue 630 is going to be one option to look at. 670 is going to be the next one. So if we come back into that 660 and start to fade out through that 660, 661-ish area, then I would go against 670 on that short. Flip side is going to be the top end, right? So if I zoom this out a little bit, you'll see that the top end sits around 720 and change. I actually wouldn't use 720. I actually would use 730 as the top end. So if you're looking for potential trades, there's going to be a fade up there, potential fade depending on how it trades through here, and then respect the strength and maybe play along through that 635 into that 630. The only thing though, if you decide to play in front of levels against the current trend, so if it's trending down going into support, especially on these contracts, the amount and the way that the futures or the stops slip is ridiculous. So you could easily get swapped or like pretty much taken right out of it, and then it snaps right back. So just be very, very careful that you're not just stepping into a downward flush move on, especially on these contracts. I mean, it happens on all of them, but these ones are notorious for moves like that. So just be very, very careful. 630, 670, and then obviously the top one is going to be 730, but those are extremely wide ranges. You could argue for a 690 against 7, but that's a dangerous trade in my opinion, just because it's a very slippery level. That could easily go up to 705 and change, and then you end up at 710 and blah, blah, blah. So I just work with the wider ranges, and this is what happens, right? When you get a move like this, going back to last week, this is an easy trade through 760. This was a quick move down to 710. And then you enter a period like this where it gets choppy. Just be smart about how you're trading the chop, because we've seen a day like today has been choppy all day and hasn't really made us any money whatsoever. So if anything, it's cost us money. So just be smart about how you're going to trade the sideways action.
Yeah, I like everything you're talking about there, because I did see some people, and look, the spam, if you guys use negative words, right, obviously it's going to get blocked, but it has been one of those days, I feel like, in the market there today where it's been pretty choppy. I mean, it was a great trade early in the market, and then now it's just like hard to trade when it's like this. We've been getting some longs here in Amazon, but I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. We did flip over to the short here on AMD. We got out of a little bit when it broke 58, but it didn't go far, so we took some more, got some more in there on that. And again, just trying to play some of these ranges right here on AMD. So maybe we do get a little bit of a pullback down in here onto a negative imbalance as the future is just doing that dance, like up, down, and around. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us one more time here today. I know our likes are a little bit low, but we'd like to get 1.5K if we can. I mean, I know viewership is lower as well on the holiday there in the United States. So happy Columbus Day, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. But if you can get that 1K to 1.5, that's kind of like our goal here for the closing show. And then plus, if you want Neil to start rapping, again, it's supposed to be 2,000 now. So we'll talk about, yeah, for the closing show.
Oh, okay.
He does it for 1.5 right now, because you're going to freestyle tonight, right?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, actually, Neil doesn't freestyle. He picks his favorite one, so you could pick a favorite.
Listen, we should be listening to Neil over me any day of the week.
Right,
so
right,
let's just,
right,
get it
yeah,
there.
it's Neil's thing. No, I'm just playing around with you.
2K,
yeah,
2K likes, guys. You guys can do it.
That's
Do it tomorrow.
the new one.
Do it tomorrow. Listen, his heart is broken from the Jays. Just help him out. Tomorrow, 2K likes. He'll throw a rap for you guys.
Let's get it today, though. Yeah, today, 2K.
But he's not here, though. Then he's going to be like, well, I wasn't here, so it doesn't count.
No, he won't be like that. He won't be like that.
Nah, you know he will.
All right, fine. Don't get the 2. We still want them to get the 2K likes.
Yeah, today, give us like 1,500. Give Neil
go,
2K tomorrow, and then, you guys will hear a rap.
What kind of music do you like, people are asking?
Me?
Yeah, like, do you listen to much music and more like...
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a bit of everything. I mean, like rap, hip hop, I do that too. But a lot of the times, I'm like, whatever's on the radio, really. I don't really,
like pop music kind of stuff?
This morning, I drove into Taylor Swift. What am I going to do? It was on the radio.
Swift,
I'm not going to turn that down.
Love Shake It Off and all that stuff.
Listen, today the roads were empty.
T-Swizzle.
Yeah, the roads were empty. Taylor Swift bumping, and I put the car in sport mode, and it was a fun time.
So funny over there.
So it was a good look all around this morning. It took me a very little amount of time to show up. So if that's my morning, that's my morning.
Shake it off. Oh. I mean, the thing is, it's hot, man. I mean, if I'm going to do anything, I want to do some T-Sweezy as well, man. I love T-Sweezy. Yeah, Taylor Swift. Just wish she was Canadian, But okay, yeah. Shout out to everybody that likes good music out there. Taylor Swift's pretty hot. Oh, Rihanna is going to do the Super Bowl. That should be pretty good. The halftime Super Bowl show. You know what I'm saying? Especially, she's with what, ASAP Rocky, right? Maybe he'll come
Rihanna
through
and A$AP Rocky,
on that as well. So that should be pretty hot there. Thank you, Tease Trading, as well. Yeah, write your name. Yeah, there's a lot of good Taylor Swift. I mean, I also have an 8-year-old girl, so and a wife. So yeah, Taylor Swift gets played all the time. I have to find out on my kids' playlist. There's a couple of Taylor Swift songs, and every time I pick her up from any of her sports or any event, it's like, boom, Dad. She pushes the app button on the car, loads up Apple Music. She goes playlist. It's not even, it doesn't even ask. Just playlist. Boom, hits her playlist, starts playing those songs. There's another real hot song out now too. It's called Victoria's Secret. Have you heard of that? It's by Jax.
I feel like I've heard it randomly
J-A-X, I believe. I have to double check that, but that's pretty hot too.
Honestly, to be
right
fair
now.
though, I can't listen to those songs. They're very slow and in your feelings types. And I'm like, when I'm driving, I don't know if I can do that right now.
Yeah, but Victoria's Secret's not. It's a faster one.
Oh, it's a faster
yeah,
one?
Yeah, you'll like that one.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Yes. Yeah, it's created by a dude. Yeah, that's right, exactly. It's really good. It's a pretty good song there, so she likes that one there. All right, guys, let's just keep going. A couple throw-up things. You don't like that, Lone Sophos there? Olivia Rodrigo. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, let's just keep going forward here. More. All right, AMD right there. Okay, I see that reload on AMD. Yeah, nice little target there. Let's see what happens now. We're short AMD now, just at 58.05. It did dip down there. We got a nice little reload. We talked about that. Let's see if it can fall down. We still do have 5 minutes left before those imbalances come out right now. Well, let's go, man. Let's go back down to the downside here for AMD. We'll see if we can get that going. What's up, Rendo?
Just quickly on Twitter, guys, there was some volume that came in there, up 3% today is Twitter. Looks like Sequoia and Binance. I didn't even know Binance was involved, but Sequoia and Binance apparently standing by their equity stance as far as being involved in this deal. So, and their funding for Musk's deal on Twitter, guys.
All right, I was going through the chat. I mean, like, I'm just trying to help you guys at this point if you guys have any questions. And somebody was asking, like, you know, how do you draw your levels, or like, can you go through how you quickly drew your levels on the NatGas? I'm just looking for points of rejection on the market, right? So if NatGas was rejecting them around certain prices, I'm like, I want to pay attention to that area just because it's, you know, it doesn't want to be there. And an example of this on the futures market and the S&P futures, since, you know, this is what we trade for the most part, is going to be obviously that 38.20 top end, quick move. Market clearly does not want to be here between 3800 and 3820. There's resistance there. Acting support in front of that 37.40. Remember, we were talking about 37.20 as the break point when we actually broke on Friday. So all the way up to 37.50, that's going to be a problem. Previous support is now going to act as resistance, especially given how fast we moved through there. Now we're bouncing into this 3600. I keep saying 38, but 38's up there, 37.50 down to 37.20, and now we're into that 3600. And I said this morning, I don't trust the 3600, although it may have worked out for a quick snapback move. My issue with the 3600 is that there's actually a ton of space underneath it. So we could easily slip underneath, take out some stops. Where is it? Right here. We can slip underneath, take out some stops, and then come right back, because at the end of the day, that 3570 is going to be the level that everyone's going to be looking at saying, oh, this is what the low is from September so far. Well, I would actually extend that a little bit further, because in my head, when I look at these levels, I'm like, how far are they willing to slip stops past a certain point? Because you know everyone's going to be looking at putting stops below lows and highs and whatnot, right? So I'm looking at preferably closer to 3560-ish as the bottom end. So there's potential. The better potential for this trade, I think, is going to be slipping 3600, taking out stops, and then coming back in if there's a long in place to make. So given what the day is looking like today, it's wide. You can see the levels are being stretched out quite wide here. This market took a move on Friday that they're trying to kind of develop the areas with, and we may need another day to develop an area as well. So for now, I'm going to mark off 38.25, 3800 to 38.25. We're going to mark off 37.50 to 37.20 as potential resistance, and then existing support is going to be below 3600, potentially on a stop break that snaps back up, at which point I would use 35.60 as your bottom end support level. So that's kind of quickly how I do it. Just look at where the market doesn't want to be, and then start marking off areas as those areas as where you would want to trade. If the market doesn't want to be there, you probably, if the market gets there and it hasn't wanted to be there before, odds are it probably doesn't want to be there again. As long as you get a reason to do it, then quickly just jump on that. But that's pretty much it. That's just how I look at it when it comes to kind of setting up levels. And you can do this across any chart, any stock, right? It's just a matter of identifying and being able to identify how quickly these things are happening.
I just want to, yeah, good talk. There's only 2 minutes until the imbalances come through as well. So what's up, TRL? Any idea why Progressive hasn't seen any side effects by the market so far? Do we think it's long and short potential? I mean, look, anything that I think has like been relatively strong against the market definitely has a long potential right now, because if and when the market does pop back up, you know, a stock like a Progressive, you know, should continue its move upside. Sorry about that. I thought the daily had loaded there. I got to wait for a second. But if you look at PGR, I mean, over its time, it's just a straight rocket ship to the upside. I mean, you could pull this back, and I mean, Progressive, there's only a minute and a half. But look at this move, man, even just since December, right? I mean, it would make a little bit of sense why insurance companies, I mean, premiums keep going up. The more this world sort of gets going here, and some of the like natural disasters and things like that, normally you would think, okay, they're going to get hit on that, but all they can really do is up premiums when that kind of stuff happens, and that therefore getting paid a little bit more. I think Progressive's everything, like auto, everything as well, and their property and casualty, I believe, obviously is their big side of that. So, you know, we'll wait to see, but PGR, again, a pretty strong stock, not a huge dividend payer. So I would say anything that's been relatively strong probably needs to get bought up. But don't listen to me. That 130 high looks like, you know, it's held in the past. So why can't it hold again, right? So that's what I would look at right there. 130, if you're in this and you want to know about a possible breakout, it's staring you in the face at 130. And then also, if you're nervous about your long position, you could get out now at 124, right? And then you just get out back in when it breaks 130. So you only give up that $5 or $6 there, and then you don't have to worry about that top or these bottoms. So maybe that's a strategy there for you on PGR. With only a few seconds left, we do have those imbalances ready to come out right now. I'll adjust this so we don't have to look at ARCA. Now let's wait to see what happens here on this. We are going to get out of AMD, of course, if it's a buy imbalance. And here it comes right now. Just kind of dancing around a little bit.
Looks like a buy.
Does it look like a buy to you? Apple, I guess, leading the way there with a sell side. But come on, chart low.
Very weak buy.
Yeah, a little bit of a weak buy. Okay, so Apple trying to go down inside a little bit. Oh, where'd they go? Let's load that back up one more time. There it is, Apple sell side. We'll pull this up so you guys can see it. Pull it up, sorry. FedEx there, sell side. That's been kind of beat down for a bit as well. But yeah, nothing too crazy here.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just going to get out of my AMD right now. I just want to talk about that quickly because I don't see AMD on here. It did pull back. We were getting close to getting stopped out. So let's just take this for what it is. Hopefully it was a sell side. Brendan, there it is, 150 to sell overall.
Oh, 150. Okay.
Small, anyways.
I mean, but to be fair, you like I said earlier, and like it's a bank holiday. What are you expecting in terms of volume? It's going to be weak, right? So if I quickly filter this, we'll go to Brendan. What's up?
I was just going to mention, guys, on that PGR, it's not necessarily individual PGR based either. Here's the financial sector. This is the financial sector right here. This group, however, that I have highlighted here in yellow is the insurance group. So they're all positive outside of AIG and LNC. So it's a positive day across the board. So not necessarily just PGR, which, by the way, is right there, up 1.5. AON having a better day.
A lot of people making money off the
super
insurance.
chat. $5, you get all that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's good. That's like a coffee and a tidbit.
Oh, this was a question earlier in the chat because guys were sending super chats for the beers for the game, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, Luke and I were like,
on
okay.
Friday.
Yeah. And Luke and I were like, somebody sent in 50, and we were like, okay, that'll get you like 2 beers maybe.
No, it's 15 a beer.
15 a beer.
Yeah, but
okay.
it's a tall boy, so it's like a pint.
Yes. Okay.
15. I think it might be a
People
little
were
more
guessing
than
around 25 actually.
Ooh.
For
No,
a
they don't
beer.
up the prices for playoffs or anything like that. Yeah, it's about, because the thing about is like if you go to a pub or a bar around here, you're paying like $7, $8. I mean, you could pay more than 15. Don't get me wrong. They also have those big ones that are. I mean, obviously it's not like Hydration Nation or anything like that, but you do have the bigger ones. I think are like 21 or 2 or 3. Like so, those ones would definitely be 25. But I got around and it was 60 something, and there was 4 of us. So. Good guess there. Thanks for the super chat as well. And again, all the super chats go back into the show, but we definitely appreciate that. But if you do super chat and tag something like, hey, beers for Friday, something like that, we will throw down a drink here on Friday, like we've done that numerous times. And that's how the pineapple pizza started.
Is that a regular thing now?
It's not a regular thing, but we had a poll up, And it was like, what do you guys want to do on Friday type of thing? Because we did that wing thing. I don't know if you know that.
No.
You were away. We did the tasty wings, the hot wings.
Okay.
And a viewer sent in, which was great, 4 or 5, I think it was 5 different sauces, and we just did the hot wing challenge.
Gotcha.
Brennan tapped out after ranch dressing spice, but no, he lasted to round 3 or 2 or 3, I think it was, and there was 5 rounds. Then the next one was like, okay, well, it's going to be like a pineapple pizza eating type of thing. So we got a super chat. And that's how we found out the jalapenos with the pineapple.
Okay, so the one across the street, the Pizza Nova, they actually use their own Italian hot pepper, which is, I think, better than the jalapenos. So you guys, maybe that's what you guys got to do
All right, good. So now
Friday.
that we have a reco on that. Yeah, Justin just went and grabbed one from a local pizza joints there. So, and it was really tasty. So we thank everybody for that. And yeah, we are looking for like fun ideas on Fridays and stuff. So, you know, if you have anything, throw it through as well. So thank you again to everybody today. Thank you for True Trading Group for throwing down as well as our sponsor here for the last bit of the show and the first bit as well. They'll be sponsoring tomorrow. Thanks to them. I think it's all October. Anyways, I don't want to say that, but you'll see them there up in the chat. Okay, here goes AMD, man. We took the majority of it out. Well, not majority. We took out half of it when it came back down. Bounced around 58. Now it looks like it's going to take out the top. So we're getting ready to get blown out of that one. Meanwhile, our Amazon is right back to the highs as well. So if we're going to get taken out of one, we might as well take ourselves out of the other one as well. Right here, this is a nice one. Buy these dips, man. We bought the dips there. We did get stopped out, but we bought it back. Dip buy again. Blowing it up to the upside here. So let's take advantage of this and get out of Amazon and then see what happens to our AMD. That looks like that's going to get blown out as well. But at 355, as you know, Arun, that's another actionable situation for the market on close where they get the major update. So we could see if that does turn things around. But I am going to get out of Amazon right now.
You know, as we're just waiting for this market to close, I'm thinking of ideas for Friday. And I keep thinking, Fahad's always talking trash about how he's good at everything, right? And I feel like you guys I feel like you guys should do like a basketball challenge here, not an actual game, because you know that you guys are gonna have excuses as to why. Put a garbage can in the middle, get some paper, get some recycled paper. Yeah. Whoever gets the most, Fahad, put it on the spot. You guys can't walk away. You can't say you don't have space. It's too cold. It's too hot. I don't have my shoes on.
Like a Fahad excuse,
I don't have my shoes on. I'm cold. I need to stretch. None of that. Just put a garbage can. Whoever gets the most bragging rights on camera.
All right, now here we go. So do you remember? Well, I don't know if you know. Because I don't think you were here. But Fahad said that there's a certain percentage that he will shoot from the free throw line.
Oh, I heard him talk about. He said something about 90%.
No,
93%.
On an off day. Yeah, 92 and a half is what Fahad is throwing down. So I agree with that. I don't even think. I mean, I wish there was a court around here because I'd like to go out there, videotape.
There is a court. Across the street, there's a university. Greg knows exactly where it is.
Okay.
You can ask Greg. He'll tell you. But forget that. That's too much work. I know because Fahad's going to have a reason not to do it. I say do it in studio, find a garbage can, get some recycled paper, crumple it up, whoever gets the most. Right, Fahad? You agree with that? Okay. Run the idea.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that on Friday. I think that's good. Let's go. That's a idea. Oh, maybe this one's the bang. Awesome. No, they're both awesome. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We could do it right here. We could do little updates okay, we could do it for a quick 1 minute. He could just go 10 in a row.
Put him on camera. You know he's going to crack under pressure.
Of course this is going on camera. We got it. There has to be proof of this.
He's going to have his hoodie on and talk about how he couldn't handle the pressure.
That's
he's
right.
going to have his excuses.
He's going to say the hoodie got in the way.
He's going to have excuses. So, I mean, if you're shooting 92% or 93%, you shouldn't have issues with
92 is more like if he has a sore shoulder. It's more about 92 and a half.
92% with his eyes closed. Now you know
now we're hearing all this.
Now he's talking trash.
If his eyes are closed, it's more like 92%. So we'll see. Raptors this year, I think, are going to be pretty good. We'll see Scotty Barnes coming into his own again. Not again, but second year. So we'll see if that can come through. Thanks again for everything right there. Oh, yeah, 40, Fahad runs, sub 4 seconds on the 40. So you are right about that one. The thing is, he was recruited by so many universities that he just said, forget it, but I'm going to go work for Trader TV Live. So I definitely appreciate that, man. That's the kind of dedication that I'm all about. Get that damn man a raise, actually.
Fahad runs he runs under a 4-second 40 just because he runs the stopwatch himself. He starts it, he stops it. He's like, I ran a 40. That's how it works for Fahad. Come on now, Fahad.
He's like, okay, go. Yeah. Now go. Yeah, he's already at the finish line. Okay, good little ending of the day here for AMD as it did turn around, man. The market did fall down. We're right back into some support for the market. And regardless, me, Arun, everybody that trades here at Day Trade the World does have a 4 p.m. kind of cutoff time there. So we are going to now start to get out of our position for AMD, but it's a nice little win here to end the day on that name. So pretty pleased with the AMD trading. Not super pleased with the Amazon trading. We did get knocked out right there. And then that take at 50 wasn't great. I mean, they're fine. The hits are not bad, but definitely, could have been controlled a little bit better on Amazon. We'll look to do better for you guys tomorrow on that name. But what a good show. And I'm going to look, and I think after all that talk, that was pretty fun. Only 1.3K likes. So I think we're going to have to ban Neil from the wrap on Friday for sure. It needs to average at least 1.5. So hopefully we can get that moving forward, and that'll come through. I know you guys will hit the like button to get that upside down and around. He did Coolio. No, it was Rock Kim on Thursday. Did Coolio the week before. So we'll see who he picks this week from Neil. So thanks to that. And Neil's enjoying Thanksgiving with his family. And I talked to the wife during the break there, and the kids want to go on a little Thanksgiving type walk. So we're going to hit the forest.
It's nice out too.
Exactly. See the leaves, see all that kind of stuff. Bring the dog and whatnot and get going on all that. So, okay, there it is. We did finish our trade off right there on Amazon, on AMD. We got out of that one. That concludes everything. So good trading there on AMD. It came right back in. We're able to get out right where we wanted to. So a nice little reload on the short. These purples are all shorts here. So good out there on Amazon, including that short. So we did have to average in. So it's not a huge trade, but so far so good with only a minute left. Still have no one on the bell. So hopefully someone will be able to ring that one coming through, and I can yell at Justin. Maybe it'll be Brendan right now, or we can just
do 30 seconds.
We can just do an empty bell. I don't know what you guys want to do, but the bell is down right there right now.
We're not getting to it.
I don't know where's Brankles at. Okay, it's only 20 seconds to go right now. Oh, Brendan's going to do it. So
Brendan's gonna do
special
it.
guest of the day, Brendo. There you see him at the big screen, and you are going to see him at the bell as the market is coming back down in a little bit right now. So here we go, Brendan. We only have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, look at him. He's ready. 2 and 1. Ready. There we go.
That wasn't all. Oh, you hit it upside down. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Empty desk. Where's Brendan?
Empty desk. Brendan's gone there.
There's Brendan.
Now Brendan is back there. So now you guys can all roughly know how long it takes to get to the bell, to the desk.
Fahad would have done it faster, though.
Fahad could have rang the bell without even being there. You know what I mean? It just would have rang. He just would have commanded the bell to ring. So, all right, we will get it all locked and loaded here. Get Brendan all set up. When he's ready, we'll throw it back over there to Brendan at the desk and see how this sort of violent day at some points wound up. How did we go, Brendan?
Yeah, so much for that quote-unquote rally that we had going there into the afternoon. 1 full percent. We end down for the NASDAQ, 1.01, 0.75, 0.76 for the S&P. About flat for the Dow, but if that was a rally, it was short-lived, guys.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, I mean, the big day is, you said it was Fed minutes on Wednesday, or is that tomorrow?
Wednesday,
I think.
Wednesday.
Yeah, so Fed minutes on Wednesday, followed by CPI coming on Thursday, and then hell to pay after that. So we'll see, man. I mean, I don't think that jobs report that came on Friday, we saw what that did. It was good. I think it was multi-decade lows of 3.5%. That sent the market, because that's no longer now 50 points. It looks like we are going to get 75, which of course the market doesn't like. So let's wait to see if that does come through. But hey, that concludes a pretty fun day, man. And I had over 300 fills today, way too many. We'll see if we can be a little more accurate there tomorrow. Good trading from Pratt and Ian today, so thanks for those guys for the midday show. Fahad ran the board himself today, so that was great. He's going to go home, work on some of those trash can free throws there to get that going. Mm-hmm. That was a good idea. We'll talk about how to do that. And thanks to Swiss Chalet for bringing our food super late.
Yeah, which is still sitting here cold.
Which is still sitting there cold now, but take it home, reheat it. You don't do your thing, or don't throw it out though.
No, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, make sure you.
I don't throw up food.
What is it? Okay, let's see.
Wow, you guys missed this on camera. So he tried to show off just now.
Yo, that 92 has been downgraded to like 32%.
Fahad tried to show off by trying to be like,
so
I can get it, and then he can't even get it past the chair which is in front of him. So
Yeah, so Fahad's like, Sean, this is for you. Interrupting again what we're doing, you know. And he goes, this is for you. And he shoots the free throw. And it was like, first of all, he's 3 feet away from the thing, and he missed it by 4 feet. So, I mean, this is...
It was an air ball,
no,
guys.
It was not even an air ball.
It was an air ball.
It's like he hit the side of the jib.
Yeah. It's like a guy who's like, you know what, I'm going to get it through here, and he actually hits the camera on its way through because he can't aim. Now he's got something to prove.
Okay, so
now
he's going to set it
keep
up. So it's right under the bell. So let's see, Fahad. Are you ready to go? We're not going to let this...
It's not over yet, guys.
Wait, just wait 1 second, guys. Do not
leave
do
just
not leave.
yet.
Please subscribe. Please hit the like because we're getting
There you go.
extra.
Fahad.
Okay, so Fahad... Okay, now that... Okay, so Fahad... Who knows who did that? Fahad's about 10 feet away right now.
More than 10 feet, it's 15 feet.
Okay,
all right,
whatever.
fine. Take the 15 feet.
30 feet.
Is this
Who
going
cares?
in?
Here we go.
Come on, man.
That's air ball.
Even though dude was
that was
standing
air
right
ball.
in front of it, that's fine. It
He's
was an
0
air
for 2
ball.
already, so how is he
Right
92%?
there.
0 for
coming
2, and
through.
he's at 92% apparently. Maybe he'll make up the difference in the next 100 shots. But
can he even beat Lucas at free throws at this point? I'm not sure. No, everyone's like, nope. Everyone's bearish now on Fahad. I'm still bullish on Fahad. I think he'll come through on Friday. But again, guys, a big thank you. Big shout out to all our traders behind us for coming through today. It was Thanksgiving, so everyone.
paper.
It's paper. Yeah, there's
It's
always going to
paper.
be excuses, man. Let's just, there we go. Hit the siren for Fahad right now as he's down on the ground. Down for the 10 count. We'll be back up, though, for that. But, hey, guys, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Columbus Day as well in the States. Join us tomorrow. Thank you to Arun. Thank you for filling in there for Neil and myself on Friday and today. So, hey, man, big show. Thanks to everybody in the back, everybody part of Trader TV Live. Thanks to Bears vs. Bulls as well for the moderation. It's been great, man. I'm going to say go Chiefs tonight. I don't know, Brent, I don't think you'll be watching. Is that... No, you have a pick. Chiefs Raiders. I think it's.
Oh, Chiefs. I go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chiefs as well. I like to watch Mahomes. We'll see that, but yeah. Oh no! Don't do anything, Fahad. All right, I'm wrapping this thing up. Without any further ado. There we go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Fahad, you're already 0 for 2. You don't get a third try.
He's going to with more free throws tomorrow, guys. It's 4:05. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the trade of the day. It's PayPal for Sean. That's Arun. That's Brendan. Ciao, guys.